Chapter 415, Three Great Disasters 3. Junjie swallows. He can feel it. Even during the 4-axis stage. This is a monster that fought against the Grand Cultivator Association and even took a hostage. Just that alone is enough to redeem him the qualifications of someone at the Grand Perfection integration stage. And now, this monster brought along an integrated Dao domain with him. Junjie can't even imagine how much stronger he has become. Gulp. Junjie swallows again, focusing all his attention on the monster before him. And then, the specter of the three great ultimates raises his sword. Do not be nervous. No matter how strong he has become, he's only at the early integration stage. Of course, even if he isn't confident, it is still the leader's duty to boost his comrades' morale. Junjie steps forward, putting his golden scale-covered body at the forefront. In the next moment, Junjie's foresight reveals the human race territory split in two. A cheek. Flash. A single line of light. The sound follows belatedly. But Junjie, no. Everyone including Junjie, knows immediately. This is insane. Junjie breaks out in a cold sweat, his expression one of utter shock. Life drains from his eyes. He feels on the verge of a panic attack. The attacks from integration grand cultivators are powerful enough to vaporize an area with a diameter of 30,000 li with a single strike. But look at this. With a single strike from Xiao Unhyun, the monster of three great ultimates, land with a diameter of 300,000 li, along with the sea of clouds and all the sky islands in its path, are sliced apart. Only because he himself is at the grand perfection integration stage can Junjie comprehend that the being before him is a monster capable of annihilating a small decaying corpse realm in its entirety with a single blow. Of course, Junjie, being at the grand perfection integration stage, can bring about the extinction of the ecosystem within a decaying corpse realm by triggering a sufficiently large earthquake and completely twisting the Earth's crust so that no living being can survive. All life within the decaying corpse realm would face extinction that very day. However, there is a vast difference between wiping out all life within a decaying corpse realm and annihilating the decaying corpse realm itself. Being at the great perfection integration stage himself, Junjie realizes as soon as he sees Xiao Unhyun's single strike. This power is beyond the integration stage. Tremble, shudder, shudder, shudder. As soon as he senses the level of power Xiao Unhyun wields, Junjie can tell what level of power the being before his eyes has reached. Not quite at the quasi-star shattering stage, but a being beyond the integration stage. Clench. But he can't give up. This human race territory is a precious domain his ancestors risked their lives to obtain. It's a cherished place that cannot be recklessly moved at the whim of a single member. Everyone, charge at the colorless sword ghost. Colorless sword ghost, Xiao Unhyun. This is the title Xiao Unhyun earned after his previous battle with the Grand Cultivator Association. A nickname given that describes him literally, a ghost wielding a sword. Stay put, you sword ghost bastard. No matter how strong you are, do you really think you can defeat all of us? Gijin, Young Yun, and others. The integration stage grand cultivators who are still young or inexperienced excitedly charge at Xiao Unhyun. But why Ryang Xian and why Su? Those with more experience or keen minds. Or figures like Junjie himself or Han Wan, who are at higher cultivation realms, hesitate, launching their attacks at Xiao Unhyun from the rear. Yet, despite being in the back, Junjie's expression remains calm. An integration stage cultivator capable of producing attacks nearing the star-shattering stage, but that's all. He focuses his attack on Xiao Unhyun with a serious expression as he instructs the sects that have responded to the Grand Cultivator Association's summons to target John Myung-hoon and other integration-level comrades, all while contemplating the integration stage. At the early stage at that, there's no way he can use such overwhelming attacks frequently. At most, he can use it 3 times. We just need to be cautious for 2 more attacks. After that, his power will drop to the level of an ordinary grand perfection integration stage cultivator. At that point, Gol Make and I can join forces to subdue him. Junjie completes what he believes to be the most rational judgment within the scope of his knowledge, his eyes gleaming. Keep attacking. As long as he's enduring our full assault, he won't be able to move easily. Why Ryang Xian swings his fan, causing flames to surge, and why Su amplifies the firepower with a gust of wind. Gijin sprouts spores and hyphae from within the flames, covering Xiao Unhyun's body, while Young Yun pulls out her tower, a quasi-refining void dharma treasure, and presses down on Xiao Unhyun. Gol Make gathers energy in both hands, sending a violet glow shooting towards Xiao Unhyun, and Junjie unleashes his magnetic dharma treasures to suppress Xiao Unhyun's body. At the same time, they don't forget to attack Xiao Unhyun with lightning divine power, scorching him like heavenly tribulation. It's working, he's unable to move. If we can stall him like this and avoid 2 more of his attacks, victory will be ours. However, despite gaining the upper hand, Junjie anxiously surveys his surroundings. Kururu. Among the 6 major sects of the human race, the black-scaled fish-commanding sect, entering Truthgate, and Heavenly Lotus sect are all focusing their efforts on keeping a single John Myonghun at bay. John Myonghun swings his 6 arms in all 4 directions, brandishing his lightning spear, and each time he swings the lightning spear, the martial forces of each sect fall apart like paper. Gua. As John Myonghun roars, a taiji emerges around him, and a domain of lightning and thunder begins to form in the vicinity. Quararuru. As soon as he opens his domain, countless red lightning bolts start raining down from above. Integration with late-stage power. Considering how his current realm appears to be at the early stage, it's terrifying to imagine how much stronger he'll become once he reaches the late stage. Junjie turns his gaze elsewhere. On the battlefield, Penglai Palace of the human race 6 major sects is being confronted by Hong Fan, Kim Yun, and Bu Qianghua. The poison scattered by the giant centipede demon left the law enforcers of Penglai Palace unable to focus, and in the chaos, Kim Yun is manipulating Bu Qianghua's puppets to fight against Penglai Island. Penglai Palace deployed the general COs they previously took from Co Eun-hyun, but in the span of 3 blinks, they were taken over by Kim Yun. Though it appears like Hong Fan and the puppets are being pushed back by the Penglai Palace disciples' Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique, Bu Qianghua, who is within the puppets, is continuously modifying them in real time and making them stronger. No, more than that. How is that woman so calmly evading and breaking through the attacks of higher-level cultivators so effortlessly? Junjie is staring at Kim Yun, a woman clearly only at the heavenly being stage. However, her movements are bizarrely fast. Wawoom. Junjie frowns as he notices 5 orb-like things floating around Kim Yun. Each time one of the orbs enters her body, her puppet manipulation speed increases significantly. It's not simply at the level of being fast. That speed rivals the flying escape technique of an integration stage Grand Cultivator. That woman is also a major factor at the level of a Grand Cultivator. He analyzes the combat potential of those Co Eun-hyun brought with him. The Black Ghost Valley is in combat with Shur-ho and Co Ran. Shur-ho is bearing his 6 tails and growling atop Co Ran's nether crossing ship, while the Black Ghost Valley has deployed 2 nether crossing ships, several 4-axis Ghost Kings, as well as Hyo-guak and Hyo-ryong to pressure the 2 of them. However, damn it, what the hell is that now? Oh Hyun-suk, who is joined with the Azure Heaven Creation sect, that has just risen to the bottom of the 6 major sects of the human race, is fighting together with them against the entire Black Ghost Valley. Ha ha. Azure Tiger St. Chongmun Sunwoo and Oh Hyun-suk are both exuding the same energy as they battle against the Ghost Kings of the Black Ghost Valley. You fools, what are you doing right now? Are you declaring your betrayal to the human race? Junjie shouts towards the Azure Heaven Creation sect, but what he receives in return is the boisterous laughter of Azure Tiger Saint. Ha. Before being part of the human race, we are of the same sect. They are traitors to the human race. Before being a traitor, he is my disciple. Azure Tiger Saint puffs out his chest in front of Oh Hyun-suk and shouts, if you wish to imprison my disciple, you must first imprison me, his unworthy master. Junjie is at a loss for words, utterly bewildered. He doesn't even realize that it's only due to his Dharma treasure, which makes him at the quasi-integration level, that his sect was accepted into the human race's 6 major sects. Junjie grinds his teeth with his eyes gleaming. They're all hopeless. Every single one of them has something wrong. Kugugugugu. Starting with Junjie, domains begin to emerge from the bodies of the Grand Cultivators of the Grand Cultivator Association. Wawoom. The domains of the Grand Cultivators wrap even more tightly around Co Eun-hyun, who is already trapped. Their domains overlap, enveloping the entire area where the battle is taking place. Typically, when domains overlap, they collide and push against each other. However, when the owners of the domains give permission, the domains instead overlap, and the energy amplifies even more. Kugugugugu. Junjie's eyes shine with a stern light. His entire body transforms into a giant covered in golden scales. Gol Make becomes a giant figure completely enveloped in unknown bones. Gi-jin turns into a mass of mushrooms and hyphae sprouting from his entire body, while Young Yun merges with her Dharma treasures, becoming a golden dragon. Wai Rongxian becomes a butterfly of flames, and Wai Su becomes a butterfly with wings of wind, all revealing their true forms. This is the end, you bastards. Now kneel before the authority of humanity. Just as the golden-scaled giant, who released all his strength, raises one hand. Crack! Junjie suddenly turns around at the spine-chilling sound coming from behind him. Kuguguguk. As a dark wind sweeps in, a pitch-black hand shoots up from within the prison of flames. Then, a ghost king with 20 heads emerges from within, wielding a colorless sword. This, damn it. Stop it. At Junjay's shout, all the grand cultivators combine their powers, intensifying the seal on the ghost king and launching their attacks. But the ghost king, despite being struck by countless attacks, calmly converses with someone. Why are you still staying inside alone? It's because I'm not yet fully accustomed to the consciousness domain and spiritual power of the core formation stage. Isn't your strength even greater now? Before I can control my power even more perfectly, I'm trying to hold back. Well, do as you wish. Junjay feels an inexplicable chill as he watches this exchange. TS. Countless futures flash before his eyes. At the integration stage, a grand cultivator no longer sees just one possible future, but multiple possibilities. If one sits quietly and concentrates for years, one could even predict possibilities far into the distant future. However, in Junjay's vision, only one possible future becomes visible. Everyone, get out of the way. Quag. The prison of flames collapses. The shockwave causes all the domains surrounding Seo Eunhyun to crumple, and Seo Eunhyun grips his sword once more. Junjay grits his teeth and shouts. He must have exhausted a significant amount of energy while escaping. Just avoid that. Kugugugugu. Then, Seo Eunhyun's single strike splits the entire human race territory in half once more. Junjay feels a chill run down his spine. The sheer power is one thing, but despite the massive slash cutting through the entire human race territory, while the terrain was destroyed, not a single living being was harmed. A single strike that passes through anything that isn't its target, cutting only what is intended. The precision is terrifying. However, Junjay feels relieved. He must have used up all his strength by now. He shouldn't be able to show such feats any longer. Then, Seo Eunhyun swings his sword. Boom. Junjay is shocked and quickly dodges Seo Eunhyun's slash again. Once more, his sword splits heaven and earth. 8 out of 10 of the human race's sky islands have been sliced off by Seo Eunhyun's sword. In disbelief, Junjay shakes his head. That's right. I made a slight misjudgment. But that must have truly been the last. Seo Eunhyun grips his sword again, and he swings towards the grand cultivators. Once again, the grand cultivators strain with all their might to dodge, and Junjay's face turns pale. He must have learned some special secret art to conserve his energy. But this time, his strength must truly be. Seo Eunhyun swings his sword once more. Kugugugugu. The entire human race territory is filled with slashes, and the sky islands begin to fall. The foundation of humanity is being destroyed. I see. That is no ordinary above integration stage. Only then does Junjay realize. The Seo Eunhyun in front of him was never fighting them from the beginning. To the being before him, the grand cultivators are nothing more than insignificant fruit flies. He is simply doing what he said he would do from the beginning, attacking their foundation to drive humanity out of their homeland. Boom. Each time the sword is swung, the floating formations of the sky islands shatter, and the sky islands fall. Stop. Sword light flashes. The formless sword light shatters all the formations within the human race territory. Stop it. Junjay shouts with despair in his eyes. As the clouds above the human race territory clear, their home is being destroyed by Seo Eunhyun's atrocities. I said stop. The land that humanity's ancestors had protected for generations is crumbling just like that. I'm telling you to stop right now. Junjay cries out in rage, shedding tears of blood as he screams at the monster swinging the sword. And then, Seo Eunhyun and Junjay's eyes meet. For the sake of humanity's territory, Junjay charges at the monster before him. Someone has to stop it. They have to stop this monster from bringing the end of the human era. Quong. The next moment, Junjay is struck by Seo Eunhyun's single strike, and his entire golden-scaled body shatters and is flung away. His domain is split in half. It's immediately clear. That Seo Eunhyun could have crushed them all to death at any time. Bastard. Gol make roars in fury as she expands her body and charges at Seo Eunhyun. Wai Ryangxian, Wai Su, Gijin, and Young Yun also launch a full-scale assault on Seo Eunhyun once more. Under Wai Ryangxian's command, the 6 major sects, the 5 major sects excluding the Azure Heaven Creation sect, that are fighting Seo Eunhyun's comrades, all rush at Seo Eunhyun together. Do not threaten humanity's foundation, you traitor. At Gijin's shout, countless members of the human race begin bombarding Seo Eunhyun with Dharma treasures and spells. And as Seo Eunhyun's 40 eyes glow, he begins to reveal a spine-chilling aura. I kept playing along with you, and now you don't know your place. Seo Eunhyun, who had never fully unleashed the power of the 3 great ultimates, begins to emit ghost fire from his glowing eyes. Fine, let's do this properly. The next moment, Seo Eunhyun vanishes. And in the following instant, The only one who reacts properly is Gol Make. Pabong Paipong. Yi Jin and Young Yun's bodies are sliced in half, and Seo Eun-hyun's sword digs into Joel Make's crossed arms, severing both of them. Seo Eun-hyun coldly surveys his surroundings, using the flying escape technique, sword flight, and the gliding technique. From the beginning, he had no intention of facing the human race's great army. Though John Myung-hoon said he would kill them all, Seo Eun-hyun was confident he could suppress the entire human race without killing anyone, so they were just objectives on his list. His goal was to instill overwhelming fear and drive humanity out of their base. That's why he only used large-scale attacks to turn the human race territory into a mess. But no one, not a single member of humanity, fears Seo Eun-hyun. They are shocked, but that's all. Every one of them is burning with determination to protect their base. So this is why they're called the two evils with the fighting ghost race. The fighting ghost race, constantly burning with fighting spirit as they battle. The human race, who will continue to burn with fighting spirit even if their lives are about to be extinguished, as long as they have something to protect. Both races have parts of them that will never let their fighting spirit break, which is why they are both grouped together and called the Azura race. I thought wrong. After all, I'm human as well. Seo Eun-hyun finally changes his mindset. With a half-hearted resolve, I can't make humanity kneel. He adjusts his sword stance. No longer is it a stance to merely intimidate the opponent, but a stance meant to properly kill the opponent. With fierce killing intent in his eyes, he opens his mouth. I apologize for underestimating you. In that case, from now on, he begins to unleash his killing moves. I will face you properly. Right now, his opponent is humanity, one of the two races in this vast, bright, cold realm that never falters. A thread-like sword energy erupts from his hand. No, it isn't something as trivial as sword energy. It's too terrifying to be called sword energy, too tyrannical to be called sword gang, and too sharp to be called sword pill, Jwan. It is, indeed. It is something that should rightfully be called surpassing path, Yuda. The last technique of the first part of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship is called Sunrise Emerging Peak. Like sunlight breaking over a mountain peak, the countless thrusts pouring forth from the technique resemble a sunrise. But what Seo Eun-hyun is now executing is far from a mere sunrise. It is not a sunrise. This is creation, Kai feet. Severing Mountain swordsmanship. 12th move. D-dodge. Will be annihilated. 600 million lights creation emerging peak, Livgonke Fi Feng. The thread-like sword will pierces through heaven, earth, and the four directions. And it doesn't stop at just piercing. Kugwang, Kugwagwagwang. It explodes. From the point where the thread-like thrust hits, a storm of sword energy erupts, turning the surrounding area into a wasteland. A tempest of slashes arises from all four directions. The foundation of humanity collapses entirely, plummeting to the ground. The territory of one of the mighty six heaven tribe races crumbles. Gol makes stares at the monster before her with an aghast expression. Sword ghost. Before her is the infamous sword ghost. However, she cannot accept that thing being under the mere title of sword ghost. Such a name is far too insufficient to contain it. And it seems everyone in the Grand Cultivator Association feels the same. From Wai Rangxian's mouth, as he watches humanity's territory being destroyed, a new name emerges. Sword Devil, Janmo. It's the Sword Devil. Kugagugagu. As a storm of slashes passes by, they swallow hard as they stare at the being before them. The Sword Devil, who has completely devastated all of humanity's territory, is still moving. Woong, woong, woong. Heaven and earth spiritual energy converges towards the being before them. The Sword Devil is preparing the next technique. Destroyed be all. Wai Rangxian sheds tears. Everyone flee. His will spreads across all of humanity. Wai Rangxian's thousands of clones issue orders to tens of thousands of sects. The Grand Cultivator Association has been defeated. The Devil of the Sword seeks to trample us humans. He shouts as he faces Seo Eun-hyun's killing intent. Run away. If you wish to survive, escape from the range of the Sword Devil's attacks. Humanity has been defeated, and they are forced to abandon their homes, embarking on an indefinite exodus, driven out by the Devil of the Sword with 20 heads. From that day on, Seo Eun-hyun gained a new infamous name. The evil ghost who wields a formless sword. The formless sword devil, Wuxing Janwo, Seo Eun-hyun. And not long after, all the races in the bright cold realm started to face the three great disasters that began to sweep across the realm in earnest. The mad puppet master who began to truly grow the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Mad Lord, Zhou Yun. The madman who expelled one of the two evils of the Heaven Tribe's six great races, the human race, from their homeland. Formless sword devil, Seo Eun-hyun. And the mindless monster that appeared with an army of ghosts and began to devour the world. Ghost guiding Holy Mother, Kong Minhee. The Mad Lord, Bai Jin. The Ghost Mother, Gu. The Sword Devil, Janmo. The Bright Cold Realm collectively called these three the three great disasters. Ziyang. Translator notes. Yep. The 12th move was originally translated as ______ lights emerging peak. I thought the imagery was there without having the sunrise, which would make the name longer. I was but an ignorant mortal back then, daring to question the mind of the great tremendous. Who would have thought it would come back to haunt me now? T.T. Chapter 416, Face to Face, 1. Shi Yi. From above the last remaining Sky Island, Thunder Spirit Island, I look down at the ruins of the human race territory. For some reason, I feel a complicated mix of emotions. Hey, Seo Eunhyun. John Myung-hoon approaches my side and speaks. John Myung-hoon. Why do you look so grim? You were the one who did it. He looks down at me with slightly hollow eyes. Did I do the right thing? Didn't you say Kong Min he would be coming out soon anyway? Then, you did the right thing in the end. You know why I left Thunder Spirit Island, right? John Myung-hoon falls silent, his expression turning grim. That's right. I confidently raised the entire human race territory. Thanks to the All Heaven's Sword's ability to ignore planes, there were injuries, but not a single death. However, I couldn't bring myself to destroy Thunder Spirit Island, the old site where Hong Surayong and our former sect, the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, once stood. It's an incredibly selfish decision. I destroyed others' lands and homes, driving them away, yet I spared the place that held my own memories. A total self-centered act. The land I destroyed was surely someone's grave, a place filled with their memories. The image of me smashing everyone else's homeland while clinging dearly to mine makes me look utterly despicable in my own eyes. Why are you acting so pitifully? It's unlike you. John Myung-hoon gently strokes the wooden box that holds the hand of Jin So-hye as he speaks. Hugging your hometown, then dying, or living even if you have to roll in the dirt after everything's been smashed. It's obvious which is better, isn't it? Stop whining uselessly and get up to prepare for Kong Min-hee. The people from Black Ghost Valley are here. Got it. After a moment of silence, I shake off my thoughts and stand up. Just as he said, now is not the time to get lost in sentimentality. I head towards the area near Thunder Spirit Island, to the place where the Black Ghost Valley and the Azure Heaven Creation Sect are gathered. The people from the Azure Heaven Creation Sect are diligently training their bodies on one side, while those from Black Ghost Valley are all silent and kneeling as if they are at a funeral. I look at the Black Grand Elder, Hyo Gwak, who is at the forefront, and speak. Grand Elder Hyo, please rise. Why are you all like this? Come. Instead of responding, Hyo Gwak bangs his head on the ground. I must first clarify that our opposition against Elder under the Grand Alliance's call was absolutely not of our own volition. Well, I figured as much. 2 Nether Crossing ships with fully operational power sources and dozens of 4-axis Ghost Kings. On our side, we only have 1 Nether Crossing ship without a power source, 2 4-axis Demon Beasts, Oh Hyunsuk, and Azure Tiger Saint. It was practically a fight of dozens against one. And yet, the fact that the Azure Heaven Creation Sect, Shurho, Seo Ran, and others were not instantly captured by Black Ghost Valley meant that they were quite lenient with us. Black Ghost Valley had no intention of being hostile toward us from the start, right? How could we ever dare to oppose you, Elder? It's no different from an ant declaring war against the king of a nation. I am slightly puzzled by Hyo Gwak's attitude. Why are you being so formal? Is it because I destroyed the human race territory? It feels a bit strange. Even the Grand Cultivator Association, despite knowing how powerful I am, only saw me at the integration level and was brimming with fighting spirit. But Black Ghost Valley is acting unusually submissive. However, I immediately understood after hearing what he says next. We've been in contact with the main sect in the Nether Ghost Realm. Ah, that means word has spread about what I did in the Nether Ghost Realm. We are but insignificant creatures unworthy of even gazing at your shadow, Elder. The main sect instructed us that if we ever encounter Elder again, we should assess the situation and follow your command. So, is it because of the incident where I drove away 50 entering Nirvana true persons? It seems that Black Ghost Valley considers me as either the incarnation of a true immortal or perhaps even some sort of immortal treasure. I am about to dismiss the flattery, but realizing we lack time, I simply nod. Well, I understand. Then, for now, just as I'm about to command something to the Black Ghost Valley, I flinch, trembling as I scan the surroundings. John Myung-hoon also shudders as if sensing something, and both the Black Ghost Valley and Seo Ran, who have learned the Ghost Path method, tremble as well. In the sky, energy is surging. The energy of the dragon vein in the surroundings is gradually transforming into ghostly energy. My expression darkens. The place where the energy of the dragon vein is changing and where the energy in the sky is gathering. As I trace the origin of these phenomena, I notice that the space beneath the Sky Island area, where Black Ghost Valley was previously located, is fluctuating. If I had delayed evacuating the human race by even a little, it could have been disastrous. I look towards the place where the human race has fled. There are no mortals among the humans in the bright cold realm. As a result, when I wreaked havoc, they were all able to quickly escape their homeland by boarding flying magic artifacts. I once lamented the lack of mortals, thinking it hindered the development of martial arts, but now, in retrospect, it's a blessing. Thanks to that, they could escape so swiftly. However, I can't afford to be satisfied with just that. I'll speak plainly. The disciple you took in with the ghostly transformation immortal root. She is soon about to go berserk. Pardon. You can feel the energy, right? Soon, she will burst forth from where your sect was once located. She will emerge from this side path, on the outskirts of the netherworld, and descend upon the bright cold realm. Her cultivation realm, even when estimated at the very minimum, will be at the quasi-star shattering stage. No, I bite my lip, recalling how Jiang Ik assessed Kong Minhee in her prime. Other than having no rationality, it will be better to consider her at the actual star-shattering stage. That. Heo Guak seems to think it's impossible. But at that moment, a terrifying ghostly wail echoes from one part of the human race territory. Kahik, kook. Everyone who has learned the ghost path method, except for me, coughs up a handful of blood. I stare with a hardened look at the source of the wail. In about 1 or 2 shurchen, Kong Minhee will descend. I am aware of the true purpose of the nether crossing ships. I speak while looking at Heo Guak. To collect all souls and spirits across the entire heavenly domain when the end arrives. It's designed for spatial transmission, dimensional transfer, and such. It's not meant for attack, but for transportation. Isn't that right? To know a fact only passed down to disciples of the Black Ghost Valley. How could? No. It's only natural that Elder would know. He readily acknowledges the truth, and I steady myself, looking at the place where Kong Minhee is about to descend. Fly at full speed immediately towards the direction where the human race fled and load the entire human race onto the nether crossing ships. I command them with a stern expression. The Human Race Grand Alliance, which includes the residents of the Bright Cold Realm, was estimated at roughly 30 billion by Temporal Fate Island. It's possible to squeeze 7 billion of Earth's population into a single state in the United States. The spatial compression on the nether crossing ship is enough to fully contain the heaven-treading desert. Considering that the size of the heaven-treading desert is similar to the continent I know as the Americas, theoretically, the insane population of 30 billion can be accommodated. Heo Guak nods slightly with a somewhat reluctant expression at my words. However, without doubling the power source, it will be difficult to guarantee speed. Also, even if we use spatial transmission, it's still within another region. As Elder mentioned, if the disciple who lost reason is at the star-shattering stage, they can easily catch up using the ground-shrinking technique. It doesn't matter. We can just do dimensional transfer. Even if we do dimensional transfer, where should we move to? The true Devil Realm hates the human race due to the recent Human-Devil Great War. The Purple Gold Realm is too far, and if we go to the Nether Ghost Realm, the entire human race would perish. The Ancient Force Realm also requires a special kind of attraction force to enter. Not another middle realm, but go to a region in the Chaos Realm. If it's the Chaos Realm, the spatial coordinates are all mixed up, so she won't be able to easily use the ground-shrinking technique to follow. But for that, we would need fixed spatial coordinates within the Chaos Realm region. And there are no fixed spatial coordinates in the Chaos Realm regions to begin with, and also, there are. I cut off Heo Guak's words and hand him spatial coordinates I know of. This place is. Heo Guak's face turns pale as he receives the coordinates from me, while Heo Ryong's face flushes red upon seeing them. This. Any objections? When I look down at Heo Ryong, he rubs his side and lowers his head. We will follow the Elder's command. Good. Now that it's decided, move quickly. Fly towards the direction where the human race has fled and prepare for spatial leap. The people of the Black Ghost Valley gather the members of the Azure Heaven Creation sect and fly in the direction where the human race escaped. The coordinates I gave them are the ones that had been in Jiang Ik's Padao. In other words, they are the coordinates of the Heart Tribe territory. I dispel the floating formation on Thunder Spirit Island, letting it fall downward. Then, I take out Kim Young-hoon from my domain and request both him and John Myung-hoon. Could you two please take a look around the human race territory to check if there are any people left? Upon hearing my words, John Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon nod and vanish from sight, with speed like light and lightning. I confirm those who remain. Seo Ran, who seems to have much to say to the people of Black Ghost Valley, and Shurho, Azure Tiger Saint, who remained after sending off the Azure Heaven Creation sect, as well as Oh Hyun-suk. Kim Yun, who decided to stay to check on Kong Minhee's condition, and Book Hyunghwa, who followed her. Hong Fan, who remained following me, is also still present. Meanwhile, Wei Shurhan, Eum Hwa, Yun Jin, and the others boarded the Nether Crossing ship and followed Black Ghost Valley. I look at them and speak. Thank you for staying. However, what I'm about to do from now on is merely a stalling tactic. In other words, the opponent is currently in such a terrifying state that all I can do is buy time. Therefore, if a critical situation arises, I ask that you follow my orders without hesitation. Everyone nods in agreement. If the situation becomes critical, the plan is to place my comrades within John Myung-hoon's domain, and then have John Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon combine their strengths to reach the nether crossing ship of Black Ghost Valley, which departed earlier. Karurum. Flash. As red lightning and golden radiance flickers, Kim Young-hoon and John Myung-hoon return. John Myung-hoon shows me the countless humans inside his domain. These are people who were either in seclusion or couldn't evacuate in time due to various circumstances. With Young-hoon Hyungnim's help, we captured them all. John Myung-hoon, who suddenly started calling Kim Young-hoon Hyungnim at some point, shows me the people inside his domain and then points at one person with an irritated expression. Who Wakak? A woman is dragged out of the domain by John Myung-hoon's attraction force, shrieking as she struggles and screams. It's Tae Yeol-jon. Or rather, the woman who had been Tae Yeol-jon in a previous cycle. In the process, this woman claimed to know you and insisted on staying here. So I ignored her and brought her along. Do you know her? Hyak, elder. Do you remember me? Please save me. This person is surely trying to take me to some strange place to turn me into a pill. I don't. And John Myung-hoon isn't that kind of person, so be quiet. I ignore her and snap my fingers. She is flung back into a corner of John Myung-hoon's domain. Hong Fan looks at her with an annoyed expression, covering his nose and shaking his head. It's obvious she mistook John Myung-hoon, who appeared with an intimidating aura and suddenly tried to take her away, for a devilish cultivator collecting ingredients to make human pills. In any case, thanks to her, the tension eases a bit, and we chuckle. After telling John Myung-hoon to take our comrades to the nether crossing ship in case of an emergency, I turn to look at the ground where Kong Min-hee is about to descend. Now then, everyone stay alert. And then, Kugagugagu. With an overwhelming presence, as Kong Min-hee is about to descend. Pot. Suddenly, I find myself in a strange space. A place filled with pure spiritual energy. Chills. Above a high mountain that seems to overlook the entire bright cold realm. Atop there, I have been transported in front of a huge pavilion made of white jade. Come here. A clear voice echoes from within the pavilion. I am Baekwon. I have called only your consciousness here to have a brief conversation with you. Chapter 417, Face to Face, 2. ZZZT. I recognize the presence before me and feel a deep chill in my heart. Literally, the being within the white jade pavilion is no different from a world itself. The more I try to perceive, the more it feels like my consciousness is sinking into a quagmire. A presence that evokes despair before any sense of intimidation. The administrator of the bright cold realm. Sacred Master Baekwon. Without realizing it, I have fallen to my knees and prostrated myself before Sacred Master Baekwon. Seo Eun-hyun of the human path pays respects to the Sacred Master. Snap. With the sound of something bouncing, I suddenly find myself inside the white jade pavilion. I have entered a grand hall vast enough to be a castle. This authority. I have seen this kind of unreasonable authority once before, one that can instantly strip away someone's consciousness and place it before them. The true persons. It's the authority of the true persons at the entering nirvana stage. Which means, the being before me must be considered on par with the true persons. Gulp. I swallow nervously. Even if the Sacred Master intends to scatter my soul and spirit right now, I don't think I can resist. Well, not to that extent. Regardless, it's clear that this is a being capable of harming me at any moment. May I ask why the Sacred Master has summoned this one who is still merely a mortal from the human path? In response to my question, Sacred Master Baekwon's clear voice resonates throughout the pavilion. Raise your head. With a trembling heart, I lift my head. And then I see it. A giant. Kugagugagu. A giant, whose upper body alone seems to be 2 or 3 li long, is sitting on a white jade throne, looking down at me. Sacred Master Baekwon's skin has parts that are partially exposed, resembling tree bark, and white branches seem to sprout from her head. She is dressed in a pure white robe, and from her eyes, upright energy is flowing. As I continue to gaze up at Sacred Master Baekwon, I realize that what I am seeing is an illusion. Flinch. I snap back to reality and focus my consciousness, and the giant vanishes from my sight, replaced by a withered tree-like being sitting on a small throne. It looks like a scarecrow made of dried up wood hastily dressed in a woman's clothes. 7 lightning spears of different colors are embedded in her chest and abdomen, softly sparking with lightning. Golden, red, dark blue, purple, pale pink, dark red, and black lightning sparks whip around, forming chains that restrain her movements and coil around her. Sacred Master Baekwon tilts her head slightly and speaks. As expected, Is your weight class at the star-shattering stage to have directly pierced through my aura and seen my true form? As I stare at those lightning spears, I somehow feel that I know who their owner is, and I let out a sigh in my mind. My eyes meet those of Sacred Master Baekwon. Though her body is like a withered tree due to the lightning spears, her eyes are remarkably similar to the clear, bright ones I have seen in the earlier illusion. Perhaps the vision I have seen earlier is her true form in her prime. Do you know why I summoned you? Traveler from the ominous world. There are too many possibilities, making it impossible to pinpoint exactly what it is. As cold sweat drips from my brow, she chuckles softly. Her laughter, while not as potent as the laughter of esteemed ones at the star-shattering stage that could strike like an integration stage attack just by hearing it, I feel an even greater sense of danger. While the laughter of the esteemed ones felt like they couldn't contain their overflowing power, the laughter of the Sacred Master feels like it has completely controlled that immense power, leaving only pure laughter behind. A danger even more restrained than that of the esteemed ones. That is the Sacred Master. You survived even after meeting that arrogant monarch, did you not? Arrogant monarch. Though the title is incorrect, I instantly know who she is referring to. It seems she knows that I survived an encounter with the owner of Great Mountain. Yes, that tyrannical governing immortal wouldn't have retreated without a reason. Do you know what the reason is? I'm startled by her words. She casually mentioned a governing immortal. Seeing the slight shock on my face, she tilts her head and says, "The reason why one should not carelessly perceive or utter the names of true immortals is that doing so creates an attraction force. This force can shock and kill lesser beings. However, someone at my level can strip the power contained in the title and speak it. That way, discussing them isn't all that difficult." I see. So, your answer to the question is? I swallow. I cannot say. After meeting the heavenly venerable of time and using his power to travel back 190,000 years, I was saved from being killed by the mountain god thanks to the help of the god of light. It's simple to say, but there are too many governing immortals involved in this. Even if I assume Baekwon could suppress the attraction force generated from my words, it's hard to believe she can control the forces of so many beings at once. Hearing my response, she seems slightly displeased, tapping the armrest of her throne with a hum. I look at Sacred Master Baekwon and speak. That aside, if you have nothing else to say, may I ask for a favor? What is it? The presence of the star-shattering stage trying to enter the bright cold realm. Please help me subdue her and restore her rationality. She replied, "Why should I do that?" Pardon. I'm taken aback by her response. And no, she's merely lost her reason, but she's still a being at the star-shattering stage. I cannot stop her. And a Sacred Master, as far as I'm aware. Aren't you the one who protects the bright, cold realm? You seem to be mistaken. She clicks her tongue and says, "Guest from the ominous world. I manage the bright, cold realm, but I am not responsible for the safety of the living beings within it." What is that? No, never mind. I try to understand what she means, but then remember I don't have time, so I shout. If there is nothing else to be said, please send me back. I will stop her, even if it has to be with my own hands. That I cannot do. I must observe you to confirm whether there is an attraction force from the arrogant monarch. If you are indeed their puppet, letting you go could lead to the world's destruction. I understand what she means. I am the one who directly witnessed the destruction of the world by the owner of Great Mountain. But I can't back down now. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSTST. I draw upon the power of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, causing spiritual energy like grains of salt to float around me. I have no intention of recklessly using the phenomena extinguishing mantra. This is purely an intimidation tactic. Send me back immediately. I must stop her. If not, I will detonate this. It's a simple bluff. No one understands better than me the tyranny of the owner of Great Mountain, and I resolved not to carelessly use anything related to true immortals anymore. However, Sacred Master Baekwon doesn't seem to take it as mere bluffing. She flinches slightly before speaking kindly. If it's time you're worried about, don't be. Snap. Wawoom. I tighten my focus as I feel the surrounding environment start to distort. Her following words only heighten my tension. I have accelerated our consciousnesses by 100-fold. We'll have time to share a brief conversation. The authority to casually pull someone's consciousness and accelerate it. I have also accelerated Kim Yun's consciousness within her dream, but that was due to the special nature of her dream. However, Sacred Master Baekwon has the power to interfere with someone else's consciousness directly in reality. While investigating the attraction force in your soul in this accelerated consciousness, while I can't say it's done in exchange, ask any questions you may have. I'll answer to the best of my knowledge. She intends to investigate me in this accelerated world while addressing any of my questions. I think for a moment and then nod. Very well. Then, first, why does the Sacred Master leave the Mad Lord who is massacring the living beings of the bright, cold realm alone? And why does she allow the existence of the ghostly transformation immortal root that will devour the land of the bright, cold realm? As I said before, I am merely the administrator of the bright, cold realm. I am not your protector. What does that mean? She seems to ponder for a moment before speaking. To make you understand, I will need to give a somewhat lengthy explanation. Do you know the purpose of the existence of sacred masters? Other than being the administrators of worlds, I do not know much. Why do you think we manage worlds? How would I know that? A cheeky thing. Listen carefully. From sacred masters onward, we begin cultivation by sensing the attraction force of fate. Wasn't the attraction force of fate something only a true immortal can handle? No, that's not right. Now that I think about it, even quasi-immortals used fate to bestow misfortune upon me. Perhaps from the latter stages of the middle boundary, one can begin to handle the attraction force of fate to some extent through the plane of fate. We cultivate by sensing a total of 8 types of attraction forces of fate. And in that process, what's absolutely necessary is a vast world. The best option is a middle realm, the second is a star system, and the last is being captured by a living true immortal and used as an immortal treasure. You understand why the last one must be a living true immortal, right? Are you saying it's possible to manage a dead true immortal? Baekwoon nods. Yes, someone of your level might have already guessed, but the middle realms within the sun and moon heavenly domain, except for one, are entirely composed of the corpses of dead true immortals. I am somewhat shocked, but since I suspected this for a long time, I only let out a silent sigh of acceptance. Around 500,000 years ago, under the lead of a great being known as the vast cold heavenly lord, 3 judges of the netherworld, a netherworld spy, and a grand netherworld army, 5 gods in total along with a grand army composed of innumerable reapers and true immortals, descended upon our sun and moon heavenly domain. It is said that the vast cold heavenly lord, after competing with the 4 heavenly venerables and proving their strength, descended here with a certain purpose and waged war. It's fascinating. Perhaps it's because Baekwoon can control the power contained in her words. Despite the dangerous knowledge she is imparting, no matter how much I listen, it doesn't seem like it will cause any immediate problems. After competing with the 4 heavenly venerables, the vast cold heavenly lord descended to the sun and moon heavenly domain and waged war against something with overwhelming power. But it is said that the vast cold heavenly lord's forces, including the netherworld army, suffered a crushing defeat. The origin story of the bright cold realm from 500,000 years ago flows from her lips. You know of the vestiges of the interdimensional void, correct? The shed skins of quasi-immortals when they ascend to become true immortals, or their corpses. Even beings of true immortal rank can sometimes create vestiges when they die incorrectly. And the corpse of the vast cold heavenly lord, who died a miserable death, was especially prone to creating a vestige. Can you imagine how terrifying the vestige of the vast cold heavenly lord, who fought on equal terms with the 4 heavenly venerables, would be? The vestige alone could destroy the entire sun and moon heavenly domain. Thus, the true persons of the sun and moon heavenly domain at the stage of entering nirvana all gathered and discussed. Someone must take charge of the corpses of those judges and the vast cold heavenly lord, become a sacred master, and manage them so they don't turn into vestiges. We absolutely need gravekeepers to manage the remains of those beings. Sacred Master Baekwoon sighs as she speaks. And so, the corpse of the vast cold heavenly lord was taken over by the first sacred master of the bright cold realm and the descendant of a judge, lofty dragon true person, who temporarily lowered their realm to enter. In the ancient force realm, it was Yu. He means Xie and Xieji, Yu means willow/Shun, the son of the ancient force true lord. In the nether ghost realm, it was Yu, the retainer of the nether ghost true lord. In the true devil realm, it was Sae as an imperial seal, Heum as an een/ing, the immortal treasure of the nether devil true lord. In the purple gold realm, a child who had just risen to become a sacred master nearby was captured and became the sacred master. And after some time, lofty dragon true person was killed by that thing, and I lowered my realm to become the sacred master. Do you understand now? She clenches and unclenches her withered hand as she continues. I am not the protector of the living beings of the bright cold realm. If I were still a sacred master in the midst of cultivation, I might have protected the living beings because I would have needed to cultivate through the attraction force of fate. But I am beyond the point of needing to comprehend the meaning of attraction force, or rather, there is no need to do so. My role is not to protect you living beings, but to tether this middle realm mass, known as the bright cold realm, with the attraction force of fate, preventing the world from splitting and giving birth to terrifying vestige. So you won't help us? I've done what I could. I've called Jangik, so if you endure for about 500 years, he will arrive. In around 500 years, his avatar will reach here and take care of the Mad Lord and the star-shattering stage ghostly creature. Are you saying you'll just watch as living beings are massacred for 500 years? It's just 500 years. What are you so worried about? Sacred Master Baek-woon props her chin with one hand and points to her abdomen. In any case, I sustained a fatal injury while fighting the left ring finger of Yang Sujin 120,000 years ago, so I don't have the luxury to waste my power. Summoning Jang Ik is the greatest mercy I could extend for the sake of the living beings. I sigh inwardly, coming to grips with the overwhelming truths I have just learned. Woo-woo. Pat it. I suddenly realized that something that I haven't even realized is there which entered my body at some point has been extracted. The investigation is over. For now, I don't see any connected attraction forces. You don't need to worry about the arrogant monarch suddenly descending again. Then you'll let me go now? Despite our consciousnesses being accelerated, some time has passed while listening to her story. Kong Min-hee's descent is imminent. I'll answer one last question before letting you go. Thank you. In that case, I organize my complicated thoughts and ask a question. Lastly, you said I came from an ominous world. I ask her why some high-ranking beings, starting with Yang Sujin and including Zhongli, consider the head realm to be ominous. There are many other things I am curious about, but I feel this is the most important. At my words, her expression hardens slightly before she speaks. Do you know how the 6 middle realms are arranged? I don't know. At my response, Sacred Master Baek-woon taps the armrest with her finger. Tung. From the place she tapped, a ripple spreads out, and soon the surroundings are dyed with an illusion. I find myself standing within a vast darkness. In the darkness, I see 5 sun-like lights and 1 small dark red light. Her voice echoes amidst the darkness. Those lights are the 5 middle realms. The dark red one is the Blood-Ean realm. Look closely. As I made them in forms you can see. As I observe the middle realms as she said, I can see corpses within the masses of light. I can't clearly see their faces, but I can tell that each and every one had died horrific deaths. Either grotesquely twisted, pierced with gaping holes, or in the case of the ancient force realm, their entire body was crushed and turned into a pulp, leaving only a head. The Blood-Ean realm is just a dark red mist, making it impossible to see anything clearly. Tack. When she snaps her fingers, tiny lights begin to appear again around us. These are the decaying corpse realms. They are the fragments of beings from the Netherworld army and the followers of Vast Cold who were killed by the something. Observe them carefully. Between the 5 middle realms, I shudder as I look at the small light that appeared in the very center. It's the decaying head of someone with their eyes rolled back into their skull. The head realm? The head realm is at the center of the 5 middle realms. Though it's closest to the bright cold realm, it isn't that close and is only slightly closer than the other middle realms. That is the head realm. The ominous world from which you have come. Yes, it's in the center of the middle realms. That is not what's important. Look again at the direction in which the middle realms died. Pardon. At her words, I look at the corpses within the light masses. The ancient force, which has been turned into pulp with only the head remaining, is looking towards the head realm. The severed head and arms of the purple gold realm, whose body has been cut into 8 pieces, are directed towards the head realm. The head of the twisted corpse from the nether ghost realm, twisted grotesquely even in death, seems to be looking at the head realm, as if reaching out towards it. The true devil realm, with its body horribly mutilated and missing parts, is also looking towards the head realm. And then, the horrifically distorted body of the bright cold realm. The vast cold heavenly lord, too, has died with an outstretched hand, as if reaching out towards the head realm. Only after realizing this do I feel a chilling sense of fear that makes my hair stand on end. Do you see? The head realm, from which you have ascended from. It looks as though the gods who once made their names known throughout the heavenly domain met their tragic end while charging towards the head realm. For some reason, the words, audience chamber, that Changmun Ryong wrote seemed to flicker before my eyes. Audience chamber. A place where one greets a great being. Do you now understand why the head realm is considered an ominous place? If so, what kind of entity is the existence of the audience chamber that even the great vast cold heavenly lord and the judges twisted their bodies in such a way to meet? Chapter 418, Face to Face, 3. Bururu. At the shape of the head realm and the positions of the world surrounding it, I shiver and clear my mind. There's nothing I can figure out right now. I need to stay alert, but I shouldn't keep thinking about it. The more I think about it, the more the attraction force builds up, and if that happens, who knows what kind of entity might peek into my mind. Thank you for the valuable information. All right, then be on your way. After Sacred Master Baek-woon fully releases the acceleration on my consciousness, I feel that she has granted me permission to return at any time. I speak to her. May I come back later to resolve some questions? She ponders for a moment before replying. If you want to meet with me alone before reaching the star-shattering stage, At least stabilize those disasters first. She must be talking about the Mad Lord and Kong Mini. I nod after considering for a moment. Understood. I will try my best. Good. Then, let us meet again later. Woo-woo. With those words, my consciousness quickly returns from the heavenly Lotus Mountain where Sacred Master Beck Woon resides. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSS. When I open my eyes, I find myself back in the same situation. Kugugugugu. Yin energy is overflowing, and Kong Min Hee is descending. If John Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon combine their strength, they can reach a speed close to the star-shattering stage. The rest of my comrades are also capable of each handling their own parts. Moreover, considering that Sacred Master Beck Woon has verified my weight class as being on the level of the star-shattering stage, I should be able to at least buy some time against Kong Min Hee, who is descending now. Surung. I draw out the colorless glass sword from the void through my domain and move forward to join my comrades. Kururung. Dark clouds cover the sky, and from their center, space begins to distort as a gray sphere starts to appear. A phenomenon where the outskirts of the netherworld is being forcibly overlaid onto reality. But that isn't the end. Kuwang. Is it the sound of a rifle being fired? The sound of a grenade exploding? Or the sound of a mountain being blown away by a spell? A similar explosion echoes from deep within. Kuwang. But instinctively, I realize that this isn't just any ordinary explosion. It's a heartbeat. Yes, this is the sound of someone's heartbeat. Koom. With the third heartbeat, the gray sphere turns black. Skaka. Black smoke pours out from the darkened sphere, and the sight makes the hair on my body stand on end. Crazy. What looks like smoke is actually tiny specks of dust, and each of those specks are at least a chi building level ghost. Koom. The fourth heartbeat echoes. The sphere begins to crack, and I feel something trying to burst out from inside. I speak with a hardened expression. Young-hoon Hyungnam. John Myung-hoon. Everyone, head to the nether crossing ship now. It seems I underestimated the situation. I assumed that the Kong Min Hee of the star-shattering stage we are about to face is the same Kong Min Hee I had encountered in the previous 18th cycle with Seoli. The Kong Min Hee of that time had only just reached the star-shattering stage, and she felt about the same level as I am now. The most overwhelming Kong Min Hee I ever encountered is the one from 1,000 years in the future. The bona fide star-shattering stage Kong Min Hee was so terrifying that Jang Ik had to personally confront the ghost-guiding Holy Mother. Therefore, even though we are not yet 1,000 years into the future, but only about 500 years later, the current situation, it seems I had been under the delusion that I could possibly face Kong Min Hee. What do you mean, Eunhyun? How can we abandon our comrade? We can each pull our own weight. I said go now. I cut off Kim Young-hoon and John Myung-hoon, shouting fiercely. It's because my weight class has reached the star-shattering stage that I can sense it, while my comrades, still at the integration level, seem unaware. Fortunately, Kim Yun, whose consciousness has explosively grown to a level beyond the integration stage, seems to grasp the meaning behind my words. She nods with cold sweat trickling down her face, and Hong Fan stares blankly into the sphere as if sensing something. Do as he says, everyone. Kim Yun clutches her head and breathes heavily as she speaks. And since Kim Young-hoon and John Myung-hoon are not entirely oblivious to the situation, they exchange glances and ask with dark expressions. Will you be all right? As long as you all aren't here, I can muster every means available to hold out. All right. John Myung-hoon nods. Then he and Kim Young-hoon combine their strength, transforming into a golden lightning bird and flying off towards the nether crossing ship of the Black Ghost Valley. To forget that a reaper of the netherworld intervened. Are you retarded, Seo Eunhyun? I curse myself furiously. Koom. Crack. At last, a long, slender hand breaks through the sphere. Kugugugugu. If my suspicion is right, this cycle's Kong Min Hee will be stronger than any version of her I encountered before. Because she... Crack. Shatter. You're finally here. Due to the intervention of a reaper of the netherworld, at this point in time, 500 years after we arrived in this world, her power already exceeds that of herself 1,000 years in. Whisper, 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 whisper. It's as if countless whispers are flickering at my ears. Unintelligible murmurs, resentment, wailing, screams, prayers, cries. The languages of the dead are all spewing out from one place. The monarch of ghosts who leads tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, trillions of ghosts. It is the voice of the ghost guiding Holy Mother Kong Min Hee. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Kugaguk. Just from her whispers, I can feel an enormous shockwave, understanding that this force is akin to the attack of an integration stage cultivator. It's on par with the laughter of the star-shattering stage esteemed ones in the lightning sacred sea. Fortunately, I have grown stronger since then, and I can still stand here now. A black ghost with a 10-jong-tall body, tearing at its own head as it utters countless whispers. Her head stretches out for several li, merging with the darkness, and she wears a robe of shadows with blue tears streaming from her eyes. This is the Ghost Mother. I shout at Kong Minhee, the ghost guiding Holy Mother. Over here. Whoosh. At my words, her gaze locks onto me. Kugaguk. Just from her gaze, the ground around me begins to rot from the Yin energy, and ghosts start appearing in all directions. But I meet her gaze calmly and give a bitter smile. Surung, we have a lot of unfinished conversations, don't we? I raise the colorless glass sword and assume a sword stance. Let's share them now. The next moment, Kong Min, he has already arrived in front of me. Quag wag wag wang. She swings her arm down. In the past, I wouldn't have been able to react and would have been buried deep in the ground by such a blow. But now, I smoothly deflect her hand with my sword and kick off the ground, soaring high into the sky. In an instant, the blue sky draws closer, and I rise high enough for the vast territory of the human race to look small. I can see Heavenly Lotus Mountain. I glance at Sacred Master Baekwon's Heavenly Lotus Mountain, where I had just been, and then turn my gaze to Kong Minhee, who has already caught up with me. Rip! She opens her mouth. Her blue teeth, having already turned into those of a monster, are jagged and sharp like a shark. Your teeth are healthy as always, I see. Crunch. I joke as I watch Kong Minhee bite down on my colorless glass sword. Of course, she doesn't seem inclined to humor me. She pulls me below her using the strength of her neck, and then dives straight down from this height, trying to plunge me directly into the ground. Wararurek. Like a meteor entering the atmosphere and bursting into flames, she and I are surrounded by fire. This is going to hurt. Sorry, Boom. In the midst of the scorching heat, I twist the colorless glass sword that is clenched in her mouth. Kagak. With a few sword cries, the direction of the twisted colorless glass sword in her mouth shifts. At the same time, the colorless glass sword that's wedged between her teeth cleanly severs Kong Minhee's head. Kaya. A horrifying ghostly wail seems to echo beyond from the human race territory all the way to the leaf race territory. Gurgle, gurgle. From the place where her head is severed, black liquid flows, and two new heads sprout from Kong Minhee's neck. It's an amusing trick, but since I can produce up to 20 heads myself, I take advantage of her confusion instead of being impressed and climb onto her body. Uguk. She squirms as if trying to shake me off, but in her human form, I have her arms completely pinned down, pressing her beneath me and making it difficult for her to escape. Kyawayak. Another upper body sprouts from her back. The new upper body aims a ghostly claw at me, but it's already too late. I summon my true form with 20 heads, and using the 1,000-pound descent technique, I add the weight of an entire continent to her by enhancing the mass within my domain. Kwalong. A massive rupture emerges across the entire human race territory, triggering tectonic shifts. I feel a little sorry for the neighboring leaf race, knowing their territory is likely experiencing massive earthquakes and tsunamis. I'm sorry, I don't have the strength to evacuate you all. While initiating an emergency alert, I offer a slight apology to the leaf race and other nearby races who are just now beginning to evacuate. I then raise my sword towards the writhing darkness beneath my feet, from a higher plane to a lower plane, from a higher stance to a lower target. In an instant, in a moment so brief that it surpasses even the speed of the surpassing radiant saber, my deep mountain, emerging Dao single strike lands on the ghost guiding Holy Mother. Buwong. The human race territory, spanning about 500,000 li, is once again split in half by my sword energy. Sound itself fails to keep up with the speed, arriving only afterwards. However, I harden my expression, and without hesitation, I withdraw from the ghost guiding Holy Mother after delivering the strike. Oh, ghosts begin to sing. The tectonic shifts I caused by striking the ghost guiding Holy Mother into the entire human race territory. From the cracks formed by those tectonic shifts, Yin energy and ghostly energy begin to rise. Kugagugagu. This dog-like. I mutter a curse under my breath as I realize the true nature of that Yin energy. Why is the human race considered one of the two evils among the 6 great races? Turning living creatures into pills is not a vice exclusive to humans. Many other races also keep slave races, and the mindset full of invasion and plunder isn't unique to humanity either. In hypocrisy, the tall tree race and paired wings race surpasses them. In strangeness, the fungal bone race is above. In ugliness, the rotting owl race is superior. In battle prowess, the fighting ghost race outpaces humans. Yet, the human race is among the two evils. Why is that? The truth lies in their quantity. The human race is one of the countless heaven tribe races, seemingly ordinary at first glance. But the human race is a species that could covet others' possessions even when they don't need them. Humans could kill others even when it isn't necessary, desire to be more comfortable than needed, and pursue comfort and ease beyond necessity. The power of their desire surpasses the combat prowess of the fighting ghost race. The ugliness of their desire surpasses the rotting owl race. The strangeness of their desire surpasses the fungal bone race, and the hypocrisy of their desire surpasses that of the tall tree and paired wings races. Countless races were captured, experimented on, and turned into pills within the human race territory. So, where did the souls of those countless races go? Kugugugugugu. Why did the human race abandon perfectly good land and insist on living arrogantly on the sky islands above it? Oh, Ayayoa. Oh wow. It hurts, it hurts. Stop it, stop it. It has been 500,000 years since the creation of the bright cold realm. After those long 500,000 years, the ugliness of the human race, who slaughtered and devoured countless other races, finally begins to surface. Kugugugugugu. I stand at the very bottom of the human race's territory. There, beneath the ground, I meet the ghost guiding Holy Mother and see the endless souls pouring out, feeling utterly speechless. When the human race plunders other races, they extract the inner cores and demon cores of those races to use as pills, turn their blood and skin into talismans, and their bones and organs into magic artifacts. Even their souls are absorbed by devilish cultivators, who suck out their spiritual energy, leaving only the remaining scraps to be discarded below the sky islands like food waste. By doing so, no matter how much resentment those souls harbor, they are left powerless and unable to become vengeful ghosts due to their lack of energy. Even if they later try to slowly recover their energy, other souls, constantly falling from above, would turn into hungry ghosts and devour each other's energy in a desperate struggle to regain their strength. Souls so full of resentment that they can't enter the netherworld, and so weakened that they can't even reach the nether ghost realm, continue to struggle and drain each other's energy in endless torment within the earth. The land beneath the sky island is nothing short of humanity's garbage dump. However, due to Kong Min-hee, the countless vengeful spirits who had been oppressed and tortured by the human race begin to awaken all at once, regaining their strength through her power. No, to be precise, Kong Min-hee is merely a conduit. It feels as though power is being drawn from deep within and supplied to the vengeful spirits. Humans. Kill. Jonas. A third. They must kill the same way to make you feel to me. As the vengeful spirits who were sacrificed by humanity regain their strength, they all simultaneously become beings at least at the chi building level. I look up at Kong Min-hee with a shocked expression, seeing how the power she can command has increased in an instant. Kugugugugu. Countless vengeful spirits, numbering in the trillions and quadrillions, flow into her, causing her size to grow even larger. Her body, which was originally about 10 zhong, now surpassed 40 zhong, reaching a height of 4 li. I let out a hollow laugh as I look at her now mountain-sized form. Damn humans. Quagwagwang. Her giant hand comes crashing down on the spot where I was standing. I completely abandon the thought of trying to buy time against her. I need to escape. Even in my form as the Ghost King with 20 heads, I am no match for her who is commanding innumerable ghosts. At first, the ghosts hesitated when they saw me, but after Kong Min-hee grew to the size of a mountain, they instead set their ghost fire ablaze and are now madly reaching out to me, as if wanting to become one. Sorry, but your mistress and I have a rather uncomfortable relationship. Chihuahua. I dodge the black hands that are closing in on me like a net covering the sky and look at the human race territory, now completely engulfed in darkness and transformed into something resembling the nether ghost realm. Whoa. Though it's a bit unseemly, I begin to flee, using the energy of the 3 great ultimates entirely to dodge her grasp. To say my energy is at the star-shattering weight class means that the sheer magnitude of my energy is at the early star-shattering level. However, even with that, I have no chance against her. Having fully embraced the filth of humanity, she is now practically at the mid-star-shattering stage. Flash. I use every means at my disposal, including the gliding technique, flying escape technique, ground shrinking technique, and sword flight to escape. The darkness that covers the human race territory begins to chase after me. Kugugugugu. Could even Jangik stop that? Cold sweat trickles down my back as I look up at the darkness of the ghost guiding Holy Mother that is swallowing up the territories of other races. Rumble. Black lightning flashes as dark blue ghost fire pours out from within, sweeping over the white-horned race, one of the neighboring races of the human race. Kugugugugu. Countless cultivators of the cultivation world, and the Heaven tribe who has always given birth to the Heart tribe. Although the human race is particularly severe, no other Heaven tribe race is innocent either. They, too, have massacred and invaded other races. And the countless vengeful spirits of those they invaded are once again being sucked into the darkness of the ghost guiding Holy Mother, gaining power. Kururung. I watch as the aura of the ghost guiding Holy Mother gradually grows larger amidst the sound of black thunder. Crazy. I feel like I am about to lose my breath. Each time she swallows an entire race, the size of the darkness grows larger. Although it isn't as rapid a change as when she swallowed the vengeful spirits of the human race, it's clear to the naked eye that she is growing stronger with every race and vengeful spirit she devours. There is a reason Kong Min he managed to swallow 1/50th of the bright cold realm 1,000 years in. And now, Kong Min he has already gained power surpassing what she would have had at the beginning of her rampage 1,000 years in, after meeting the chief judge. Sacred Master Baekwon, it seems we'll need to summon Jang Ik's main body, not just his avatar. I look back with a stunned expression. At that very moment, a giant hand from within the darkness reaches across space towards me. Before I can even react, due to the spatial manipulation of the star-shattering stage, her hand reaches me, and I am struck rolling across one of the Heaven Tribe territories. Heek, heek. Drip, drip, drip. Blood flows from my 7 orifices. It heals quickly, but I realize just how immense the difference between the ghost guiding Holy Mother and me is, to the point where I can hardly even react. However, more than that, I stare at the enormous dark storm that is still approaching from afar. Kong Min, just a moment ago, when her hand struck me, I heard it clearly. Save me. It's a will that only I, who is of all 3 Heaven Tribe, Earth Tribe, and Heart Tribe, can hear. I should have run away as soon as I regained my senses, but I widen my eyes and, with a slightly dazed look, stare in the direction of Kong Min. Why yo? Once again, Kong Min is annihilating one of the Heaven Tribe races as she approaches this place. In about 100 seconds, she will likely reach here. Kong Min. I call out her name, my parched lips sticking together as I speak. Then, a response comes from beside me. Ho ho, so that's the name of that being, Taoist Seo. Severing Mountain Swordsmanship. 20-second move. Without hesitation, I use Severing Mountain towards the voice I detest hearing. Chapter 419, Broken Ones, 1. Wawoom. The technique that has evolved to the point of being able to raise an entire territory is the current Severing Mountain. Despite the immense power of this terrifying technique exploding at a single point, Seo Huiol reappears behind me, flashing that obnoxious smile. What is it now? I ask as I look at him. In the past, I would have been nervous, afraid of falling prey to his tainted soul filling the heavens. But now, it no longer scares me as much as it once did. Seo Huiol seems to have realized this too, as I can feel him openly using tainted soul filling the heavens to brainwash me. It won't work anymore. Stop your pointless efforts and state your purpose. Ho ho, this is quite. You used to be such a nice person, but how you've changed. It's truly lamentable. His words make my eyes twitch. This too is just another attempt to test my resolve. But he isn't wrong. My heart is just a pile of ashes, my soul the charred remains. Why am I no longer afraid of Seo Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens? Is it because I obtained the purple soul filling the heavens? Because I have the phenomena extinguishing mantra? Or because I gained the possibility of the second step before the throne? All those things are merely external factors. The truth is simple. Now, I too have become a broken human being, one that would never fall behind the likes of the Mad Lord and Seo Huiol. Shut up and just tell me why you're here, you blind leech. Boom. I swing my hand, slicing through the Seo Huiol before me. But even though he's cut down in one strike, his form seems to scatter in the air before reappearing elsewhere. A projection? No, it feels too real to be just a projection. The place where Seo Huiol has fallen still holds his corpse. However, I suddenly realize that something is off about the state of the body and understand the principle behind how he is appearing around me like a ghost. The corpse is only anchored in the plane of Qi. Everything in this world exists across the 3 planes of Qi, soul, and fate. Even inanimate objects are no exception. The soil has its own spirit, mountains have their souls, and even stars have their essence. Even lifeless objects exist in the plane of soul, and as seen through the star vein eye, all things are also anchored in the plane of fate. However, I see in front of me the corpse of Seo Huiol composed solely of the flow of yin and yang in the plane of Qi. Oh Hyaseo, I see. Did she lend you her abilities to send this projection using her power? It's undoubtedly Oh Hyaseo's power. Seo Huiol smiles faintly and says, as expected of Taoist Seo. That's right. She helped me. If you were going to come, you should have brought Oh Hyaseo along. With her personality, she wouldn't have missed the chance to witness something as entertaining as this. Recalling the first time I was betrayed by Oh Hyaseo, she appears to be someone who chases after stimulation and excitement. Given that, in a situation like this where the territory of the Heaven Tribe is being destroyed by Kong Min, it wouldn't be surprising for her to come just to watch. Yet, I can't sense her presence anywhere within hundreds of thousands of li. Ho ho, it seems that after our last encounter, she's learned a bit about what fear is. Indeed, at this point, Oh Hyaseo witnessed the terrifying existence known as the Chief Judge. Even someone whose emotions are as unreadable as her must have found it difficult to bear the sight of such a transcendent being's power. Thanks to that, she's become quite dependent on me lately. We've become quite essential to each other. At Xiao Huiol's words, I recall the events 1,000 years in. She was called his madam. It seems she married Xiao Huiol after all. Back then, I thought she was brainwashed, but it appears that somehow fate has always intended for the two to be bound together. So what do you want? But such things are none of my concern. I growl, glaring at Xiao Huiol. Wriggle, wriggle. As my emotions flare up, something begins to writhe violently, as if trying to escape from the depths of my shadow. My heart demons seem to be manifesting through a curse, trying to flee from me. Ho ho. Originally, she and I were merely in a relationship of mutual exploitation. We were constantly experimenting on each other, always ready to betray one another. But after my sight was sealed and her mind was scarred, we became necessary existences to each other and had to form an alliance. Do you understand, Taoist Xiao? His words make my eyes twitch. Those who have lost their blessings can band together to fill each other's voids. You, as much as me and Old Man Joe, have a broken heart. We can form an alliance that compensates for each other's deficiencies. I laugh as I look at Xiao Huiol. That almost sounds like you're admitting you have a heart. Ha, you didn't really think I have no heart at all, right? I read the will hidden behind Xiao Huiol's words. A heart is something that can be either present or absent, depending on necessity. It seems he is pretending to acknowledge his heart because he needs to persuade me now. In the past, I would have noticed this and simply dismissed it. Xiao Huiol is a monster without a heart, after all. But now, at the level I've reached, I can see something different. After tens of thousands of years and having been broken down by unbearable pain, I understand something. Xiao Huiol, just perhaps, might be someone who desperately needs to deny the existence of a heart. A heart is undoubtedly something sacred and beautiful, but, at the same time, it can also bring about hellish torment. If he is as broken as I am, perhaps the reason he denies his heart is because he wants to escape this pain more than anyone else. As I perceive this essence of Xiao Huiol, I smile bitterly. I understand. So go ahead and wag your tongue, pitiful Xiao Huiol. I'll listen for just a moment. I speak in a tone laced with pity, sympathizing with him. And whatever part of Xiao Huiol this sympathy touched, he stops smirking and opens his eyes. His eyes are so dull and unfocused that it's impossible to tell what he is looking at. Though his emotionless gaze is eerie, I realize that sympathizing with him has hit him harder than any provocation I'd ever made. He stops smiling and seems to look in my direction for a moment. As expected, you're a higher being, Taoist Xiao. How far have you seen through? I've seen enough to understand that you're a somewhat pitiable being. That will make our conversation easier. Xiao Huiol turns his emotionless face towards Kong Minhee, who is flying towards us. At first, I thought it would be better to let that being run rampant and leave it be. But after witnessing its unexpected power, I've changed my mind. While some chaos is necessary for my goal, I don't need complete destruction. So, how about joining forces with me to expel it outside the bright cold realm? I ponder Xiao Huiol's proposal. Normally, I would have dismissed any suggestion from Xiao Huiol without a second thought, but this time is different. If we expel Kong Minhee to the interdimensional void or the astral realm, there will be far fewer casualties. In truth, the heavenly domain is primarily composed of the astral realm. The middle realms are only considered as such because, as the sacred master said, they are the corpses of great beings, and they possess attraction force that influences the entire astral realm. The vastness of the middle realms can never be compared to the breadth of the astral realm, which is an endlessly expanding universe. The reason I was able to collect the shards of the colorless glass sword in the previous cycle was because it was a time shortly after the creation of the world. If it had been tens of thousands of years later, I would never have been able to find the colorless glass sword. In that sense, if we send Kong Minhee into that infinitely vast astral realm or the interdimensional void with only vestiges, the casualties will be minimized. At the very least, sending her outside the bright cold realm will buy me time until I can challenge the star-shattering stage. It's a good idea, but... As Kong Minhee gradually approaches, I ask while fleeing. Xiao Huiol, perhaps having merged with the dragon veins itself with the help of Xiao, continues to project his form from the ground where the dragon veins are, maintaining conversation. How do you realistically expect to expel Kong Minhee, who is at the star-shattering stage, from the bright cold realm? I will pull together with my wife in the astral realm. Taoist Xiao will push from this side. Is Xiao currently in the astral realm? I ask with a serious expression. She won't just quietly be expelled into the astral realm. You must have a plan, right? Yes, well, it wasn't what I desired, but a being capable of holding that being down when it struggles has somehow come into existence. No way. I look at Xiao Huiol and let out a hollow laugh. I think I know what you're thinking. Yes, it's exactly that. You want to join forces with the mad Lord Zhou Yun? I ask in disbelief. Indeed, at this point, the Mad Lord has two puppets beyond the integration level. She and the wonderfully mysterious fortress are exactly that. And through the connection between her and the wonderfully mysterious fortress, the Mad Lord can currently exert power at the quasi-star shattering level. Moreover, 1,000 years in, both she and the wonderfully mysterious fortress would individually rise to the quasi-star shattering level, meaning the Mad Lord would have two puppets at the quasi-star shattering stage by then. In terms of raw power, if I, Xiao Huiol, and the Mad Lord join forces, expelling Kong Minhe from the bright cold realm wouldn't be an empty boast. But the Mad Lord is not sane. How could anyone persuade such a person? Xiao Huiol continues speaking. First, Taoist Xiao. You know the name and ability of the secret art I use, don't you? Yes. My tainted soul filling the heavens cannot brainwash you, or the Mad Lord. Both of you are madmen. So even if I infuse my configurations, it won't take root, because your consciousnesses don't follow a normal flow. However, the inability to brainwash doesn't mean that my tainted soul filling the heavens cannot enter. What are you trying to say? Taoist Xiao, you are a member of the Heart Tribe, correct? And your comrade is a disciple who has learned the Mad Lord's consciousness method. If you, I, my wife, and your comrade join forces, we can temporarily return the Mad Lord's consciousness to normal. If I, Kim Yun, Ohai Seo, and Xiao Huiol combine our strengths, we can temporarily restore the Mad Lord's consciousness to normal. Huh. It sounds suspicious. There's no guarantee that you won't brainwash the Mad Lord while his consciousness is temporarily restored, is there? Ho ho. You don't need to worry about that. I won't brainwash the Mad Lord. I can't do it anyway. I feel slightly reassured as I read the hidden meaning behind Xiao Huiol's words. The Mad Lord's madness will likely recur thanks to the wonderfully mysterious fortress, even if it is temporarily reversed, so brainwashing him would be pointless for Xiao Huiol. But then again, who knows? Xiao Huiol is someone who might always be hiding something. How can I trust you? It's something I figured by analyzing the curse placed on me with my wife. The curse that the great being cast on my eyes extends its duration in real time according to my evil deeds. Initially, it was a mere 1,000 years, but now, it has increased to roughly 2 billion years. And I realize there's only one way to break this curse. The curse isn't on my main body, but on my mask. In other words, if I erase all personalities other than my main body and start anew, I can break the curse. You're telling me this because it's related to that curse? That's right, Taoist Xiao. Because of this curse, it's impossible for me to find my main body. The curse placed by that great being doesn't merely block my sight. It prevents me from ever finding my main body. I instinctively know that Xiao Huiol is telling the truth. It isn't just because his actions and heart essence align. It's because he has never lied about matters related to his essence. As he continues speaking, my eyes glint. Therefore, I propose this, Taoist Xiao. After we expel that being from the bright cold realm, help me find my main body. This is a chance to find Xiao Huiol's main body. He returns his expressionless face to its usual self and gives a faint smile. Until we find my main body, I promise I will never betray you, Taoist Xiao. Chapter 420, Broken Ones, 2. Kugugugugu. Kong Minhe is chasing from behind, while a snake is flickering its tongue beside me, making a suspicious proposal. I look at Xiao Huiol. I know this bastard well. No matter what the situation, a liar who only utters empty words. That is the nature of the person known as Xiao Huiol. But I simply can't refuse. Information about Xiao Huiol's main body, and the grace period I can gain by sending Kong Minhe outside the bright cold realm. These are things that can't be ignored. They are too valuable to dismiss as mere scams. So that's why? The reason the Mad Lord always attacked Xiao Huiol whenever he opened his mouth might be because even that Mad Lord could be swayed by Xiao Huiol's intentions if he listens to Xiao Huiol's proposals. I let out a groan, glaring at him. But since he is blind, there is no sort of battle of wills between us. After a moment of hesitation, I nod. Fine. I'll accept it for now. Thank you, Taoist. But there are conditions. I glare at Xiao Huiol as I speak. According to your words, we need to work together to snap the Mad Lord back to his senses, right? During that process, you will stay out of my sight and act only remotely. If that bastard were to meet my comrades and brainwash them with his filthy, tainted soul filling the heavens, I would be extremely furious. What if my comrades turn into copies of Xiao Huiol? Grit. Just imagining it makes my teeth grind. I can't afford to lose any more comrades carelessly. If such a thing happens, I might lose control of my anger and lose my reason, leading me to do something even I can't predict. Maybe I might even lose my mind and start chanting the phenomena extinguishing mantra until the owner of Great Mountain descends. Xiao Huiol smiles faintly and nods at my words. If it's necessary, I will comply. Don't worry. Until I find my main body, I have no choice but to rely on my madam and Taoist CEO. The fact that there are only two options from the beginning means that there's no trust between us. A highly suspicious and dubious alliance. But in the current situation, it's necessary. Fine. In that case, I will form a temporary alliance with you. Ho ho. Thank you for your kindness, Taoist CEO. He smiles widely and bows as if he is genuinely pleased. In any case, I frown as I watch Kong Min-hee, who is relentlessly chasing us. It seems we'll need to deal with the ghost guiding Holy Mother first before we can reach the Mad Lord. Any ideas? To expel Kong Min-hee from the realm, we need the Mad Lord's help. But to meet and persuade the Mad Lord, I, Seo Huil, Kim Yun, and Oh Hyaseo will first have to separate from Kong Min-hee before combining our strengths. However, Kong Min-hee is chasing me like crazy. If this continues, we won't even be able to start the alliance, let alone anything else. It's highly likely that she senses the death aura emanating from my body and my quasi-star shattering level power, and is trying to capture me to turn me into a ghost king. Especially for a powerful ghostly being like her, my death aura would be extremely conspicuous. Unless I escape from the star-shattering stage site in one go, she will endlessly chase after me. Since things have come to this, I decide to test Seo Huil's cunning and ask him for a strategy. He seems to smile faintly and then says, "There is a plan that will buy you enough time to meet up with your comrades. Would you like to hear it? Speak quickly. Head to Heaven Earth Palace. You bastard." Understanding why he's implying, I glare at him. He continues with a faint smile. "Go to Heaven Earth Palace and lure that thing to the flying, immortal platform. In other words, drop it under the void spirit pond. Since it seems to lack intelligence, it won't be too difficult. The vestiges of the interdimensional void react more strongly to beings with great auras, so at least 1 or 2 star, shattering level vestiges will pounce on that thing. Of course, the void spirit pond is an open door, a gaping hole, so it will quickly escape again, but the vestiges of the interdimensional void will buy you some time. Are you suggesting that I send everyone in Heaven Earth Palace into the belly of the ghost guiding Holy Mother?" Seo Huil makes a contemplative expression before asking back. "Isn't that rather a good thing? I understand you don't have a good relationship with the Heaven Earth Palace, Lord Han Wan." Instead of getting swayed by Seo Huil's words, I shoot him a sharp glance. "Stop wagging your sly tongue and help me out. With your skills and ambition, it's hard to believe you haven't already placed tainted soul filling the heavens on the living beings residing in the Heaven Earth Central region. Use your ability to evacuate everyone there right now." Ho ho. Seo Huil chuckles at my words, raising one finger as he speaks. As expected, I can't outmatch Taoist Seo. But evacuating everyone is impossible. What nonsense is that now? Heaven Earth Palace, Lord Han Wan. That person has something dangerous lurking within his consciousness, so I only let tainted soul filling the heavens flow into him, but did not brainwash him. Hence, Taoist will need to convince him yourself. I recall Han Wan. The name, buried within Han Wan, Chionra. Damn it. A sense of dread is already creeping in. I don't know exactly what that name means, but given my situation, even a child can understand that it's related to the owner of Great Mountain. It's possible that perhaps the immortal treasure of the mountain god is called Chionra. I hope to shove such a dangerous task to Seo Huil, but it seems I will have to face it myself. Fine. Cursing inwardly, I fly towards Heaven Earth Palace with Seo Huil. Han Wan makes me uneasy. From the character Jan, supervision, in his eye, to the Great Mountain splitting emperor technique he has learned. Perhaps through him, the owner of Great Mountain is able to monitor me in real time. But that's all the more reason I need to know more about him. To find out about Han Wan's current state, and to tie down Kong Min-hee according to Seo Huil's plan, I head towards Heaven Earth Palace. Kugugugugu. After flying for about half a day, the Heaven Earth Central region comes into view in the distance. It's noticeably faster now. In the past, it would have taken several days at the speed of a grand cultivator to travel from the human race territory to the Heaven Earth Central region. But now that I have reached the quasi-star shattering level, combining the ground shrinking technique, flying escape technique, gliding technique, and sword flight, I reached the Heaven Earth Central region from the human race territory in just half a day. Of course, the same goes for Kong Min-hee. Kong Min-hee has been chasing me in a straight line, absorbing all the vengeful spirits from every race along the path, empowering herself, and making them her subordinates. Though she hasn't yet absorbed as many vengeful spirits as she did when she was in the human race territory, Kong Min-hee continued to steadily grow in size. Kugugugugu. Is it just her size? Her speed is also increasing, albeit gradually. Glancing back at the dark storm chasing after me, I hurry even faster towards Heaven Earth Palace. As a result of pushing myself like mad for half a day, aiming to reach Heaven Earth Palace even a bit faster than Kong Min, I managed to arrive at Heaven Earth Palace slightly ahead of her. Now, In about 15 minutes, Kong Min-hee will arrive. The confrontation with Han 1 has to be finished within this time. Swoosh. Perhaps because Seo Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens made everyone evacuate, Heaven-Earth Palace is quiet. However, at the center of Heaven-Earth Palace, I frown, feeling a powerful presence. Despite Seo Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens persuading him, Han 1 remained in place. Boom. Jiung. At my gesture, a vast sword energy surges forth, tearing through the palace walls and rushing towards the area where Han 1 resides. Kugugugugu. As Heaven-Earth Palace crumbles, I look down at the place where Han 1's cultivation chamber is located. He is dressed the same as when I last met him. The same purple dragon robe, with hair sticking out messily from beneath his mansion, and his disheveled topknot, a worn and haggard appearance. But there is one difference from before. Sook. He looks up at me. Clicking my tongue, I gaze down at him. How did you end up in such a state, Heaven-Earth Palace Lord? Han 1's eyes have lost their former brightness. The once brightly shining Jin, supervision, has completely lost its light, leaving only darkness. It likely has something to do with the owner of Great Mountain being captured by the light. It seems as though he lost his sight entirely, as his eyes failed to focus on me. However, even if beings at the integration stage lose their sight, they have a consciousness domain. While he appears to be looking at me with vacant eyes, he is aware of my presence. I don't know. My eyes suddenly lost their light not long ago. I don't know why. Haven't your subordinates told you? A terrifying ghostly entity will soon arrive at Heaven-Earth Palace. However, Han 1 chuckles and says, what do you want me to do? If it's stronger than me, I'll die. If I'm stronger, then I'll capture it. They are someone you absolutely cannot capture. Quickly retreat. I don't want to. He sneers with gloomy eyes. In any case, the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect that you and that Jin Myung-hoon 1 failed to properly protect. Ever since that sect vanished from the human race territory, to be honest, I haven't felt any reason to continue living. Yes, I've lived long enough. The Grand Cultivators at the Grand Perfection Integration stage know this secretly, that in 10,000 years, this world will meet its end. There's no reason to keep living anyway, and since everything will end in 10,000 years, what's the point of living longer? He turns his head and says, I will sit here and recuperate, in case a miracle happens and the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect manage to ascend. If all you came to say is to retreat, then get lost. I have no desire to face you. I look down at him for a moment, and then, I descend in front of Han 1. Listening to you is unbearable. I growl as I grab Han 1 by the collar, saying the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect was annihilated, saying that it's because of me and John Myung-hoon, saying you feel there's no reason to live. You really know how to say the most irritating things. Will you not let go? We only have 15 minutes, but that should be enough. For the next 15 minutes, I will fix that completely rotten mentality of yours. Once you feel pain close to death, perhaps your will to survive will awaken. Puhu, a brat not even 10,000 years old. Do you even know what the pain of loss truly is? He sneers as he looks down at me. Born with good talent due to luck and reaching the integration stage within 500 years, it seems you're under a delusion. Do you think you're the protagonist of the world? Do you think you understand all the misfortunes of misfortunes and all the pains of pains in the world and dare to lecture me? Don't delude yourself. You're nothing more than a brat who hasn't even lived a tenth of what I've lived. The pain you've gone through isn't even worth a fingernail compared to what I've experienced. Kugugugugugug. Gradually, Han 1's weight begins to increase. The momentum of the one I am holding begins to rise. Let go of me and get lost. Whether I live or die is my own concern. You should have lost your tongue, not your eyes. I glare at Han 1 with a piercing gaze and let go of his collar. I've slightly changed my mind. You will truly experience a pain so severe that even death will seem merciful. You brat, thinking my power from back then when my body was in poor condition is my true power. Han 1 draws forth the Great Mountain's splitting Emperor technique and reaches out to me. The next moment, I literally shatter his Great Mountain splitting Emperor technique and grab his face, slamming him down. The entire Heaven-Earth Palace turns into rubble in a single blow. Chapter 421, Broken Ones, 3. Kugugugugu. The entire Heaven-Earth Palace shatters, and the surrounding flying immortal platforms simultaneously crumble. Beneath the flying immortal platforms, the void spirit pawns begin to reveal their subtle forms. It's a scene reminiscent of when Han 1 used the Great Mountain splitting Emperor technique nearby. However, there is one key difference. Han 1 used the divine power of the Great Mountain splitting Emperor technique, while I simply grabbed Han 1 by the face and slammed him down. You bastard, he growls, beginning to gather power. Spatial waves reverberate from within his body, and gradually, his size starts to swell. Han 1 reveals his true form. Due to the mass, I'm momentarily pushed back, rising into the sky. Kugugugugu. In the next instant, he becomes a mountain. Rocks, soil, and trees sprout from his body. Streams and creeks emerge from his form, with veins of minerals buried in its depths. Deeper within, lava bubbles up as a colossal mountain soars. The mountain imbued with the 5 elements transforms into a giant, glaring at me. This mountain giant is Han One's true form. Integrated Dao Domain. Great Mountain, Great Dust Chariot, Tearing Wine Bird. Taosan, Dachinch, Lirfunak. TL/N. Chariot tearing/chariot dismemberment is also known as dismemberment by 5 horses, an ancient Chinese death penalty where a person's 4 limbs and neck are tied to chariots/horses and pulled apart. Kugugugugu. His body transforms into a domain, and at the same time, his domain begins to engulf the surroundings. Han One's domain is a desolate island. Within his domain, countless islands float in the void. In that void, countless dust storms rage, turning into sharp blade winds that shred everything excluding Han One. Rising from the center of these dust-bladed gales, the mountain giant exudes a fierce momentum towards me. Let's settle the score that we couldn't before, Seo Eunhyun. If you want to deal with me, you'll have to step over my corpse. And in the next moment, Kwakakwong. With a single strike, Han One's upper body explodes and is sent flying, while the shockwave from my punch obliterates his entire domain in an instant. You seem to be under some kind of delusion. I glare at Han One, my eyes blazing, as I move at an extremely high speed. You won't last even 10 moves against me now, Han One. Without revealing my true form or drawing the colorless glass sword or my domain, I simply let the 3 great ultimates float behind me. That was the first move. Boom. I move above Han One's head, bend my legs, and then forcefully stomp down, smashing into his regenerating stomach. Rumble. Second move. Han One's body is completely pierced through, and the shockwave from the impact slices through various parts of the domain. He uses the flying escape technique and unleashes the full power of heaven and earth dual cultivation within the light to counter me. Our bodies collide. Third, fourth. After 2 clashes, both of Han One's fists are severed, and his upper body is once again greatly slashed. The way to subdue those in the integration stage is to smash their domain to pieces. For the Heaven tribe, you destroy the domain. For the Earth tribe, you destroy the domain and the body that is fused with it, and the grand cultivator dies. But what about Heaven and Earth dual cultivation? How troublesome. In the case of these guys, even if you slice through their domain regenerates as long as their body remains. If you cut through their body, as long as the domain is intact, they resurrect. Both the domain fused with the body and the manifested domain have to be eliminated simultaneously. Quite a hassle, but that's all there is to it. 5th, 6th, 7th. With the first strike, his domain. With the second, his body. With the third, I attack his soul and subdue him completely. You bastard. However, perhaps not a complete waste even if rotten, the bastard quickly covers the entire surrounding area with the barrier of yin-yang and 5 elements. His will is to blast the area around him with the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. But it's useless. I grip a black banner in my hand. Wriggle, gurgle. This isn't just any banner. From the shadows of the banner's reverse side, pitch black, eye-like things squirm, and terrifying entities within seem desperate to escape. Wriggle, wriggle. The object in my hand continuously squirms, trying to grow. If I plant this, he'll probably die. The Yin Soul Ghost incantation, which instinctively expresses my rotting, decayed insides, has long since surpassed its limits. Pain and agony so condensed that even my heart demons wail for escape. That is the current Yin Soul Ghost incantation. If I stab Han One with this, no matter how strong an integration grand cultivator he is, it's certain he will fall into madness with his soul evaporating. I dare say, even Sacred Master Baekwon wouldn't remain sane if hit directly by this. Let's tone it down a bit. TSTSTSTST. After draining a significant amount of venom from the banner, I plunged the now hollowed black ghost curse banner straight into Han One's chest. Hook. And that's the end of it. Han One, who intended to detonate the area with the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique, starts trembling violently, unable to even scream. As his focus scatters, his domain disintegrates, and he returns to his human form. Shoo. Fearing that leaving the black ghost curse banner in him any longer would drive Han One mad, I disperse it. However, the phantom pain seems to linger, tormenting him as he foams at the mouth, tears of blood streaming from his eyes. Pack, pack. I slap Han One's cheek. 8th, 9th. Puck. 10th move. Hihiak. Gugugho. Yeah. Only then does Han One come to his senses and groan in pain. I look down at him and chuckle softly. 10 moves. Do you understand? That's already the difference between you and me. I look down at him. He clenches his teeth and speaks. What's with this bullshit, you bastard? You don't even like me. Whether I live or die, what does that have to do with you? Did my provocation irritate you? Are you acting like this because something scratched your nerves? Just why won't you leave me alone? Why? I quietly look down at his outburst. After raging for 5 seconds, he exhales and begins to speak. Do you think I didn't want to live with hopes and dreams like everyone else? I wanted to have something called hope in my life too. But, after witnessing my lover being devoured alive, I had no idea what to do anymore. Even if I live, I'm not truly alive. So why are you doing this to me? I don't intend to argue with someone like you either. Whether you live or die isn't my concern, and I'd be glad if you did die. I'm well aware it's pointless to keep telling people who want to die to live thousands of times over. Then why? The part that enrages me is your irresponsibility. I gaze down at him with eyes as cold as ice and spit out my words as if I'm chewing them. Aren't you a father? Even if they were born from concubines, how many children do you have? How many people follow you? A man burdened with the weight of a group on his shoulders shouldn't irresponsibly and meaninglessly abandon everything just because he's in pain. Bang! I stomp on Hanwon's chest. He coughs up blood. Knowing he would regenerate anyway, I mercilessly stomp on him again and again, grinding my teeth. And as I speak those words, I begin to understand why I am suddenly so angry with Hanwon. No matter how much he said things that deserved my anger, and no matter how much he provoked me, the reason why my rage surged and driven me to torture him so suddenly. Perhaps it's because I see myself reflected in this bastard. When he mentioned the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, what came to my mind was Yunwei. Yunwei and Hanwon, and the inner emotions of Yunwei that I saw in Penglai Island. She claims to hate Hanwon with her words, but deep inside, there is still a longing for him. And when I remembered that, someone else came to mind. Hanwei, who spent her entire life desperately seeking Hanwon's attention, and her siblings. Hanwon's children, the disciples of Penglai Palace who follow him. Even if Hanwon himself doesn't realize it, he is someone who is loved. He is someone who is noticed, revered, and respected. And in him, I see a reflection of myself. The one I am trampling on is not just Hanwon. Perhaps, I am taking out my anger on him because I am reminded of my past self. Someone who was loved and revered by countless people but failed to protect that. Move. For the sake of those who care about you. Even if the end is inevitable, don't give up. I direct my anger towards both Hanwon and myself. He remains silent, and I, seeing that he still seems listless, toss him a suggestion. It's not perfect, but if you really want it, there's a way for you to see the face of the person you loved. Get up and at least just help. At my words, his eyes change, and he suddenly grabs my shoulder. WWH, do you mean? There's something called the wonderfully mysterious fortress that can be used. Get your hand off my shoulder. I'll explain later. I push Hanwon away and look at Kong Minhee, who is now almost within reach. Seo Huiol. Ho ho, to what do I owe the pleasure, Taoist Seo? Take this guy and fly to the skies above the bright cold realm. I understand what you mean. He approaches Hanwon, coaxing and calming him as they both fly up into the sky above the bright cold realm according to my request. And I wait for Kong Minhee on the now completely ruined flying immortal platform, where the original form of the Void Spirit Pond is fully exposed. Kugagugagugu. Ghostly wails fill heaven and earth as she finally arrives at this place. Deep darkness. Crackle, crackle. Within that deep darkness, I immediately identify Kong Minhee's location. Compared to the darkness I saw when the oldest one was chasing me during that regression process, the darkness surrounding her is quite distinguishable. Keying. After charging up a single strike in the All Heavens Sword, I launch it directly at Kong Minhee. Flash. The All Heavens Sword, transformed into a thin line, shoots towards Kong Minhee at the speed of light, and just before reaching her, it strikes something like a barrier. As expected, I can't penetrate it in one go. She stops and stares at me intently. I meet her gaze and smile faintly. Pat it. The All Heavens Sword, lodged in front of her, begins to shine and transforms into a seated detachment, standing Oblivion Avatar. Through the standing Oblivion Avatar, I launch another single strike at her once again right in front of her face. The Avatar, lacking energy, morphs into a gang sphere. Quag wang wang wang. Her upper body explodes, and in that brief moment when she can't regain her senses, Hanwon, who rose up with Seo Huiol, covers the entire area with the barrier of Yin-Yang and 5 elements at Seo Huiol's command. Is this how it was done? I clasp my hands together and focus my consciousness, silently reciting the formula of the twisted mantra without connecting with them. Through attraction force, I simultaneously start to use the mantra that they taught me. The location where the standing Oblivion Avatar struck Kong Minhee, the gang sphere clone that remains there. Centered around that gang sphere clone, the barrier of Yin-Yang and 5 elements begins to close in. Though it's far from being a true immortal art, its form is close enough. Phenomena extinguishing mantra. Kugagugagugu. The barrier of yin-yang and 5 elements that covers the area begins to constrict around the gang sphere before Kong Min-hee. Though the mantra is twisted, its effectiveness is undeniable. The density of heaven and earth's spiritual energy within the barrier begins to increase, filling the surroundings with light. Kong Min-hee lets out a ghostly wail, attempting to shatter this prison that has now turned into a prison of light, but it's futile. No matter how powerful she is, even she can't break the barrier that was created by enduring my disgust to combine strengths with Han 1. Before long, the barrier gradually shrinks smaller and smaller until it's narrower than the range I occupy, finally forming a sphere that imprisons only Kong Min-hee. Of course, that's the limit. I can't make it as smaller than dust, like what I saw back then. This is my own limitation. Wing. Before the phenomena extinguishing mantra sphere can dissolve, I immediately summoned the 3 great ultimates and charge in, forcefully smashing the sphere containing Kong Min-hee down towards the void spirit pond. Kugwagwang. A tremendous resistance is felt from within. It feels like she's about to burst out in an instant, but she's an instant too late. She has already been expelled through the void spirit pond. Of course, it's impossible to block the void spirit pond, so she will eventually return. But for at least a month, she shouldn't be able to climb back up, dealing with the vestiges of the interdimensional void. See you later, Kong Min-hee. I look down, trying to calm the goosebumps that have risen from my disgust. I really didn't want to use it. Even though the twisted phenomena extinguishing mantra doesn't form an attraction force with the owner of Great Mountain, it still touches upon my most painful memories. But there was no other choice. Just as I shouted at Han 1 just moments ago, with Penglai Palace weighing on his shoulders. Now, I have my remaining comrades weighing on mine. I had to stop Kong Min-hee, no matter what. If it's just my own disgust that's the problem, I'll ignore it as many times as necessary. No matter how agonizing and painful the memory is, I will bring it out and use it. If that is the means to protect the deceased followers of the Wuji religious order, and to protect the comrades who are still alive. Splendid, Taoist Seo. Shut up. I glare at Seo Huiol and Han 1 as they descend from the sky. From now on, we're going to regroup with my comrades and head to the Mad Lord. In the meantime, explain in detail the method you mentioned to bring the Mad Lord back to his senses. Understood. I'll explain as we go. First, and so, after temporarily driving away Kong Min-hee, we set off toward the Mad Lord Zhou Yun. Chapter 422. What does a person live for? 1. Wayu. Moving quickly across the bright cold realm, I connect my consciousness with Kim Yun. Since Kim Yun and I are linked through the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon, it's possible to communicate in the case of an emergency. What's the current situation? Through her consciousness, I receive an explanation that the Nether Crossing ship is gathering power to perform a dimensional leap into the Heart Tribe territory. To safely perform a dimensional leap to the Chaos Realm region, even the power source of the Nether Crossing ship, which possesses near limitless power, needs some time to accumulate energy. Though it's called the Chaos Realm, it's essentially a different dimension, completely distinct from the stable realm within the bright cold realm. Beyond being desolate, the further one moves away from the stable realm, the more constant the spatial storms become, and terrifying celestial phenomena start to occur frequently. That is the Chaos Realm. The Heart Tribe territory lies deep within this Chaos Realm region, which is why their main stronghold has not yet been eradicated. That it's no wonder that the 2 cultivators from the Heaven Tribe were angered when Gyo Yo mentioned that there was something they desired within the Heart Tribe territory. It isn't just the issue of encountering a master from the Heart Tribe. It's also the fact that it takes an enormous amount of time just to reach that location. Since it's come to this, I might as well use the power of the Nether Crossing ship and push Kong Min-hee into the astral realm with the Mad Lord. The Mad Lord will surely know how to draw out even more of the Nether Crossing ship's power. Where is Mad Lord currently? I ask Seo Huiol. Through tainted soul filling the heavens, he would know Mad Lord's location more accurately than I would. It seems he's currently waiting in the eastern part of the Earth Tribe territory, gathering materials. The eastern part of the Earth Tribe territory. The Earth Tribe territory is largely divided into east and west. In the west is the main headquarters of the True Dragon Alliance, where the corpse of Lofty Dragon True Person lies. In the east is an endless wilderness, largely undeveloped, where all sorts of demon beasts live freely. It's my first time going to the wilderness region. Even if I ask Seo Huiol to guide me, the guy's blind right now, so while he can pinpoint the Mad Lord's location, proper guidance is impossible. I glance backwards. There, Han 1 is following me with eyes wide open. Look here, Han 1. Have you ever been to the wilderness in the eastern part of Earth Tribe territory? I have. Then lead the way. We're heading there soon. Why do you want to go there? There's someone we need to persuade there. He furrows his brows and says, if you need me to guide you, it's probably better not to go. What do you mean by that now? That old Kurlug. Han 1 tries to speak, but instead coughs up a handful of blood. Damn, now that I've left Heaven Earth Palace, the seizures have begun. It's the Yin seizing, Yang suppressing, Yin Do Yang Fu, secret art of the Taiji quaking lightning body. It's a curse that forces the Yin energy to deviate from its path and forcibly suppresses the Yang energy to cause an explosion. Jin Wei, that evil thing, cast that curse on me 40,000 years ago using the divine artifact, calendar calculations, from the Yin Soul Ghost sect. As a result, I've been suffering from this curse for 40,000 long years, while Jin Wei's advancement to the integration stage was blocked, and the divine artifact was sent flying into a distant alternate dimension. As I watch Han 1 speak, I suddenly ask him a question. Han 1, do you to Yun Wei? I mean, do you have any thoughts about Jin Wei? He furrows his brows and responds. What thoughts should I have? It was just a political marriage from the start. I had no feelings for it. The only one I gave my heart to was her. His eyes become distant, as if recalling something. Do you not have any memories of receiving something from Jin Wei? He snorts at my question. Huh, from that thing? I remember the venomous words like saying Chion Ra is not real, to not cling to illusions like a fool, and having my eyes gouged out. He grinds his teeth, his eyes a sharp, piercing glare. That thing has always taken something from me. My Chion Ra, my cultivation, my eyes. You ask if I got anything? I received nothing but pain. I observe Han 1 for a moment. His emotions aren't lying. He genuinely only has bad memories of Yun Wei. However, I find it strange. No matter what, before the entity called Chion Ra appeared, Yun Wei was incredibly devoted to Han 1. Even when she caused so much chaos in the ancient force realm, at least half of it was for Han 1's sake when I asked her later. And yet, he only has bad memories of Yun Wei. What does that imply? His memories have been completely distorted. That's right. Currently, due to the influence of Chion Ra, his memories have become significantly warped and twisted. I have already seen people from the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect being brainwashed for years by Zhongli, obsessing over banners, and I even have memories of myself being brainwashed by Yang Song. Hence, the possibility that Han 1 has been entangled with a being of at least true immortal rank and brainwashed is entirely plausible. At the beginning of the 19th cycle, the power and aura I felt from the name, Chion Ra, within Han 1 were chillingly similar to that of the owner of Great Mountain. There are some differences, but Han 1 might have been living his entire life as a puppet under the control of the owner of Great Mountain. I wonder if Han 1's mind will ever be healed. Will he ever be able to escape from the clutches of that tyrannical and arrogant being? I silently hope that, at least for Yun Wei's sake, Han 1 can be cured someday. With that, I end the conversation and quickly fly on. Wu-wong. Kugagugagu. In just half a day, I arrive at the wilderness region within the Earth Tribe territory. Now that all my comrades have gathered, let's go to the Mad Lord. I tell Han 1 to guide us, and he leads us toward the wilderness region. Seo Huiol, seemingly puzzled, asked me a question. By the way, Taoist Seo, didn't you say we would be joining up with your comrades? He looks around. I don't detect any of your comrades in my consciousness. We've met up. You don't need to know the details, so just explain in more detail how we're going to awaken the Mad Lord's mind. As we move, I take the time to link my consciousness even more closely with Kim Yun. Through her wonderfully mysterious, innate heart canon, Kim Yun connected her consciousness with the other comrades. As a result, although our bodies are apart, it's as if we are all moving together in the plane of soul. If necessary, I can even use the power of the All-Heavens sword to summon the strength of my comrades here. Ho ho. Well, if Taoist says so, then let me explain in more detail. First, we will enter the Mad Lord's mind through his wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon. Afterwards, using my Madam's ability, we'll retrieve the Mad Lord's past memories. Finally, with my tainted soul filling the heavens, I'll paint over a specific scene from the Mad Lord's past memories, which will temporarily bring him back to his senses. Of course, it will only be for a short while. What do I need to do? All you need to do, Taoist Seo, is hold on to the Mad Lord while we enter his mind. Got it. I nod and accept his suggestion. Shortly after, in the distance, a familiar fortress begins to appear. Ho ho. Now then, as planned, Taoist Han will deal with the puppets of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Taoist Seo will handle her, and the Mad Lord, and my madam and I, along with your comrade, will infiltrate the Mad Lord's mind. But before Seo Huiol can finish his sentence, a massive beam of light shoots towards us from the wonderfully mysterious fortress. I open my eyes wide as I see the beam and reach out my hand to deflect it. Kugwagwagwang. I furrow my brow as I look at my hand. It's tingling. This power is definitely something I have experienced before. A power similar to that of Yuk Rin, the dragon race's breath. Dragon Wave. With a hardened expression, I gaze at the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Kuggugagu. Countless puppets begin to emerge from the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Among them, I notice two particularly powerful presences that make me tense up. Hoi. Hoi. Who do we have here? Isn't this our Scorpion Snake King? For what reason has the great Scorpion Snake King descended before me? And who's this beside you? Isn't this the kidnapper who took our cute little disciple? Behind the two puppets, the Mad Lord emerges. Xiao Huiol, standing next to her, has a slightly dumbfounded expression as he sees another puppet emitting an aura similar to her. What the? Ho ho ho. Old man, for now. All right, you Xiao fellows. I'll make both of you into General Xiao. I'm thinking of making a puppet with two heads. One with a Xiao fellow on the left, and another with a Xiao fellow embedded on the right. Wouldn't that be something? He laughs maniacally as he returns to the wonderfully mysterious fortress, and the two puppets with exceptionally powerful auras begin to move. One is the her that we all know well, and the other is the Black Dragon King Hein Eum. This is clearly the same monster that once fused with the extremities of an esteemed one's body, demonstrating abilities close to those of immortal arts. There is a high probability that he is also connected in some way to the Bloodine realm. The human form Hein Eum, upon receiving a command from the wonderfully mysterious fortress, instantly releases its compressed body and transforms into a dragon form puppet. The Mad Lord's excited voice echoes. Yes, I've decided. Once I capture the Xiao fellows, I'll combine them with the Black Lord and create a great three-headed General Xiao with the ability to transform into a giant dragon. Clink. Puppet Hein Eum's mouth opens, unleashing an overwhelming amount of energy from within. Flash. Once again, its dragon wave flies towards me, and I grit my teeth as I deflect it once more. Tingle, tingle. The power has gotten stronger. Hey Xiao Huiol, was this Hein Eum fellow always so weak that he could be captured by the Mad Lord? Recalling the time when Hein Eum fused with an esteemed one of the Bloodine realm, I ask Xiao Huiol. He shakes his head and replies. It seems he abandoned his shell and escaped. Anyway, being able to revive in the body of another dragon race with even superior attributes as long as his information is intact, that is the one known as Hein Eum. Something about that statement clicks in my mind. Revive with even better attributes. As time passes, the secret art that gradually grows stronger and more superior as it progresses from cultivator to cultivator. Purple soul filling the heavens. As expected, could Hein Eum also be practicing it? It seems likely he escaped using purple soul filling the heavens after failing to fight off the Mad Lord. But Xiao Huiol, this guy? I glance at Xiao Huiol and ponder. He's smiling, but his expression is unusually shaky. I sense wariness from the trembling he displayed. Is he wary of the Mad Lord? No, it's different. This is more like. Then suddenly, as I strike down the approaching puppet Hein Eum, I realize what Xiao Huiol is wary of. I see. The formula for purple soul filling the heavens is still their inside puppet Hein Eum. I don't know if it was left by the Mad Lord or left by Hein Eum, but it's clear that Xiao Huiol is wary of purple soul filling the heavens. Only now do I understand why the Mad Lord suddenly decided to capture and modify Hein Eum in this life. It's because of the information I gave the Mad Lord. The information about Xiao Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens. The Mad Lord, likely in his search for a way to counter Xiao Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens, encountered Hein Eum, sensed the purple soul filling the heavens within him, and believed it's the method to oppose Xiao Huiol's tainted soul filling the heavens. As a result, he modified Hein Eum into his puppet and confidently brought him out in front of Xiao Huiol, with the intention of merging Xiao Huiol with Hein Eum. No, his plan to modify Xiao Huiol and I into a great three-headed General Xiao might just be a matter of personal taste. In any case, I examined puppet Hein Eum with bright eyes. Against Xiao Huiol, purple soul filling the heavens might unexpectedly prove effective. On the day the alliance is broken, that will be the day when I force purple soul filling the heavens under Xiao Huiol's throat. As I face off against the puppet Hein Eum, I suppress the all-heavens sword-sharp energy and strike its head with a heavy blow. Quagwagwang. Under the power of the three great ultimates, puppet Hein Eum is driven straight into the ground. Fortunately, the level of the controller is low. I look at Hein Eum and her. The liquid flowing inside him. It's the black water that resided in Hein Eum's domain, and in her heart is the power source of the nether-crossing ship. The black seawater and the power source resonate with each other, gradually increasing in power. If the fight would stall for longer, or if the Mad Lord's cultivation realm were higher, making him more adept at controlling the two puppets, I might have faced a much tougher battle. Pot. In the blink of an eye, I leap over her and infiltrate the wonderfully mysterious fortress, grabbing the Mad Lord by the head. The Mad Lord's expression twists in rage, but I swiftly use the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon to link my consciousness with Kim Yun's, and combining our strengths, Kim Yun and I infiltrate the Mad Lord's consciousness. Your turn, Seo Huiol. I take measures to prevent Seo Huiol from invading Kim Yun's consciousness and connect his consciousness with mine using the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. Well then, let's temporarily erase the most terrifying memory that serves as the cause of the Mad Lord's madness. TSSDSSDS. He connects to the Mad Lord's consciousness through mine. Beyond Seo Huiol, I can sense the aura of Ohiasio through the tainted soul filling the heavens. Sarek, the sound of pages flipping in reverse. Finally, Seo Huiol, Kim Yun, Ohiasio, and I enter the memories of the Mad Lord. Translator notes, starting from tomorrow, and if no problems occur after today's testing, we will be releasing a subscription option for RTOC. Make sure to check it out before habitually purchasing a chapter. Chapter 423, What Does a Person Live For? 2. Chwararara. With Kim Yun and my abilities, we connect to the Mad Lord's consciousness, and, using Ohiasio's power, call forth his past memories from within. Seo Huiol seems to know exactly which memory is the most painful for the Mad Lord, as he quickly flies through his memories to that point. After a while, we find ourselves confronted with a certain scene. Yes, there is a next time. Let's wait until then. A dark secret room. Yes, it seems to be deep within a cave residence. This isn't the first time I've seen someone's memories. Occasionally, while placing a seated detachment, standing Oblivion single strike into others, I've glimpsed fragments of their memories. For instance, even when I implanted the All-Heaven Sword into the Mad Lord's heart essence during the 19th cycle, I caught a very brief glimpse of his memories. It was also then that Seo Huiol slyly hinted at some information about his tainted soul filling the heavens. In any case, when peeking into someone's memories, in the case of mortals, the memory perspective is mostly in first person. However, in the case of cultivators, due to their consciousness domains, their memories are composed of everything perceived within it. Thus, the memories of cultivators are predominantly in the observer perspective. To be precise, the memories of cultivators are a mixture of first-person and third-person perspectives. Therefore, in the Mad Lord's memories, I am able to observe what he was doing as I peek into his recollections. Definitely. Next time, I will definitely be with her. In his youth, the Mad Lord, bearing a six-colored pattern on his face, makes such a vow, swallowing an unidentified pill and closing his eyes to focus on his cultivation. As he practices for a while after taking the pill, two patterns on his face, which were partially merged, completely unite into one. Now, only 5 colored patterns remain on the Mad Lord's face. He mutters with shining eyes. Wait for me, dear. I will definitely come for you. To grow old together, to be with each other for 100 years. Because that is what we promised. The heart of the Mad Lord, who made this vow, is so beautiful and dreamlike. And as I observe this scene within the Mad Lord's memories, Seo Huiol's consciousness appears beside me. Though I guided it with my own hands, the Zhou clan, including Zhou Yun, always exceeded my expectations. Now then, I shall cover up the memory that Mad Lord Zhou Yun despises the most. Splash, gurgle. As he says this, Seo Huiol's consciousness transforms into something resembling black liquid, beginning to fill the scene within Zhou Yun's consciousness. Chwararara. The black darkness of his tainted soul filling the heavens engulfs Zhou Yun's memories. I realize that the surroundings have turned pitch black, so I protect my and Kim Yun's consciousness. Just then, flash. Seo Huiol, Kim Yun, Ohiasio, and I are all violently ejected from the Mad Lord's mind by a powerful resistance. This. I flinch in surprise as I identify the formula that is pushing us away. This is definitely the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. When I regain my composure, I find myself standing in front of the Mad Lord, fully conscious. And the moment I see the look in his eyes, I immediately know. The Mad Lord has regained his senses. But at the same time, I know something is wrong. Remove this hand. Though the madness has clearly subsided, his eyes are heavily bloodshot, and a thick murderous intent is seeping from his entire body. I release my grip on the Mad Lord and take a step back. He glances at me briefly before glaring at Seo Huiol's projection behind me. Elder Zhou Yun. The bright cold realm is currently. The next moment, without even listening to us, the Mad Lord immediately manipulates the wonderfully mysterious fortress and detonates Seo Huiol's body. Whoosh. He turns his head to glare at me and speaks. Did you join hands with Seo Huiol? It's a temporary alliance for now. Then die. In the next instant, the Mad Lords, her, and Puppet Hein lunge at me. Quadadoodaduk. Damn it. Though he's regained his senses, it seems he's become even more ferocious and filled with killing intent. I glance at the Mad Lord. His consciousness, previously a chaotic mix of colors, is now solely aflame with blood red and dark crimson. The current Mad Lord is overflowing with hatred and animosity towards the world. This is the first time I've seen the Mad Lord like this. Whenever I brought the Mad Lord back to his senses in the past, he was always a calm and benevolent elder. I vaguely assumed that the same Mad Lord would return this time as well, but what emerged is a completely different being. When you kidnapped my disciple last time, didn't you hint at tainted soul filling the heavens with that heart tribe single strike, or whatever? But now you've come here after joining hands with Xiao Huiol. Have you already been eroded by that bastard? That would never be the case, old man Zhou Yun. Then just why? Coon. Blocking the attacks from Puppet Hien Eum and her, I take a heavy step towards the Mad Lord. Look, I lay bare my heart essence to the Mad Lord without holding back. Upon seeing it, the Mad Lord seems to flinch in surprise. With the entering heaven sight granted by the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon, my heart essence must appear like a hellish inferno to him. The elder's pain and suffering. Drip, drip. As I recall that moment again, black tears naturally flow from my eyes. I don't entirely fail to understand it. No matter how powerful tainted soul filling the heavens may be, it cannot erode someone who is already broken like us. Isn't that right, Elder Zhou Yun? At my words and the sight of my heart essence, the Mad Lord stares at my eyes for a moment, then rubs his head and flicks his fingers. His wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon trembles, causing her, and Black Lord, to be detached from my body. It seems Xiao Huiol temporarily broke one of the memories I hold most dear. Thanks to the absence of that information, I've regained some clarity, but that doesn't mean the emotions tied to those memories have vanished. I still can't control this raging anger. I'll listen to what you have to say out of respect for your sincerity and my disciple, but don't provoke me. Right now, I'm like a bomb ready to explode at any moment. I begin to explain as I look at Zhou Yun, who has intent as red as John Myung-hoon. First of all, a disaster has descended upon the bright cold realm. Because of that, the human race had to be driven out of their own territory. I briefly explain the situation, starting with how the human race lost their homeland. The Mad Lord listens to my story, then stares at me with bloodshot eyes and asks, "So, you want to expel a star-shattering stage monster outside the world? The one pulling from outside will be Xiao Huiol, the one pushing will be you, and I'll be keeping it busy for a while. Is that it?" "That's correct." The Mad Lord glares at me with a displeased look and asks, "Why should I do that?" "That's because..." And then, it happens. TSTSTSTSTSTS. Beside me, Kim Yun, who is connected to me through the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon, appears. She created a gang sphere clone and overlaid it with an illusion to send a projection next to me. She was originally struggling at the 5 energies converging to the origin stage, but after obtaining a demon core of the Earth tribe, she linked it with her inner core, formed a gang sphere, and quickly reached ultimate pinnacle. The reason is, you owe me something. Kim Yun's projection speaks confidently as she looks at the Mad Lord. At her words, the Mad Lord smirks and says, "Oh ho, it seems you've done well the homework I assigned you." "Yes, I have fully deciphered everything. So please help out the disciple who has inherited your teachings." However, the Mad Lord snorts. "You're saying something laughable, my disciple. If you had fully deciphered the magic artifact I made for you, you should have already mastered the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon. But it seems you haven't. The reason is obvious. You must have received help from someone, right?" At his words, Kim Yun nods. "That's right. I received help from someone with the same extraordinary pattern law talent as you." The Mad Lord's eyes widen. Received help from someone with the extraordinary pattern law talent. Could it be that the filthy bloodline of the Zhou clan still continues to this day? Baduduk. He grinds his teeth and mutters. "It makes my skin crawl. Truly disgusting. The grudge with that clan." I slightly furrow my brows as I look at the Mad Lord. Judging by the intense emotions boiling within him, it seems he's about to go after Bu Qianghua to kill her. But in the next moment, "So what are you going to do?" Kim Yun turns the question back to the Mad Lord. "Do you really think you can do anything to the person I'm protecting?" The Mad Lord glares at Kim Yun for a moment. Then he closes his eyes. "Fine. Whether or not you received help from someone with the extraordinary pattern law talent, you must have heard my message, so you should know what I want." "Yes, and I know that I am the only one who can fulfill your wish." "Yes, that's correct. But, for you to fulfill my wish, that level of mastery in the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon won't do. It's regrettable that you used a shortcut to decipher my task and failed to properly advance your realm." The Mad Lord's bloodshot eyes are fixed on Kim Yun. "This time, I will help you. But the next time you appear, you must have grown enough to fulfill my wish." "Understood." Kim Yun nods, and the Mad Lord's killing intent eases slightly at her response. "All right, I understand. Now, take me to that so-called ghost guiding Holy Mother or whatever." However, Make sure to not bring that CO Huiol bastard in front of me. I'll definitely lose my mind if I see him. Thud. The Mad Lord sends a lump of energy condensed with the formula of the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon towards Kim Yun's projection. It seems to be a formula containing insights into the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. Kim Yun absorbs the mass of formula, and I send a voice transmission to CO Huiol, who is observing the wonderfully mysterious fortress from a distance. You follow from a distance. The Mad Lord doesn't want to see you. When I send him this heart message, he nods. Understood. In that case, Daoist CO, please bring the Mad Lord. I will prepare to pull with my madam from the astral realm. TSDS. After finishing his words, CO Huiol completely vanishes from the spot, leaving no trace behind. Kagugugu. The wonderfully mysterious fortress takes to the sky. Where do we need to go? Please head towards Heaven Earth Palace for now. The place where the flying immortal platform was when we first ascended. Got it. Despite being engulfed in anger and pain, the Mad Lord has regained his senses to some extent and follows my lead as I guide him. Kim Yun, since the Mad Lord has regained his senses now, withdraw your consciousness. However, Kim Yun looks at me with a troubled expression and sends me a heart message through the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. As I listen to her, I get a headache and frown. Just ignore it for now. This isn't the time for an argument. Just then, Pajajijik. W8, Grandmother Yun. You shouldn't, Quajajijik. A bolt of lightning shoots through Kim Yun's consciousness, causing her projection to transform into something familiar to me. It's the projection of Yunwei. As expected of an old monster who has lived for 40,000 years, she seems to have mastered a secret art that interferes with another's consciousness and alters their projection. Co Unhyun. Clench. Yunwei's projection grabs me by the collar the moment she appears. You? Just what have you done? The 4 disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, just where did they go? Just how much more must you take from me to be satisfied? Huh. She clings to me, her voice trembling with anger and sorrow, and grinds her teeth as if on the verge of tears. How much longer will you only take from us?